Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Toby. Welcome to the podcast. If you're a new listener, welcome. I'm going to give a big shout out to my day ones for the past 6 years, my subscribers, my listeners. I appreciate people who talk about this podcast, who share this podcast, who support this podcast, who write reviews for this podcast. Really appreciate all your support. I've been doing this for 6 years. I've been giving it away for free. So many people ask me why I don't film it, why I don't monetize on YouTube, why don't I charge people for it on Patreon? And their answer is because I don't want to. I love these conversations in my kitchen. I love the honesty. I love that people want to come back for 2 or 3 episodes, the reoccurring guests that I have all the time. I love it. No lights, no cameras. I myself do not like going on podcasts that are being filmed and have lights. I've done it a couple times. I'll probably never do it again. I don't feel like myself in those situations. So I want all my guests to be as comfortable as possible. I do have sponsors. The sponsors keep my shit going. They keep it alive. But I will never interrupt a conversation with an ad in the middle of it. People do that all the time, and I will never interrupt the flow of a conversation. So don't worry about that. But I do have amazing sponsors who I align myself with, who the products that I use on a daily basis. I've turned down so much money for sponsors that want to be part of this podcast with companies I've never tried or didn't align with. I'm very picky about who I have on my sponsors and have on this podcast. That being said, check out the sponsors. Joe, cue up the music. Yo, Rockabilia, one of our sponsors. We have a limited skate deck designed by my brother Dan Smith and Captured Tattoo, celebrating 30 years of our first album, out right now for pre-order between now and May 18th at rockabilia.com. You can go to rockabilia.com right now and use my code OLOC and get 10% off. That's OLOC and get 10% off this limited skate deck. Check out my Instagram for photos of it. We'll be posting in the next couple weeks, so it's live between now and May 18th on rockabilia.com. Thank you, Rockabilia, for the support for this podcast. Thanks for all you do and put out there for all the bands and musicians and artists, all the amazing merchandise you guys make. Stoked to have you guys part of this podcast.
Welcome to the One Life, One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. And today I'll be using my Kiwi accent instead of my Lower East Side accent. If you haven't guessed, this is not Toby Morse. I'm Dan Smith, and I have kind of hijacked the airwaves over here in his kitchen for a very special announcement. I've been friends with Toby for 25 years or so, and he's always shown me love and support with everything I've done, from my music, from taking bands on tour, having me create artwork for H2O, and countless other things over the years. I've filled in for them a couple times on bass and guitar, and made memories I could never forget. In exchange, I've tattooed him a million times and might have seen more of his body than Moon has at this point. And today he surprised me and asked me to do my very own read and announce something that I've been working on that will now be a new sponsor of this very podcast. I grew up playing and loving soccer or football, and if music and tattoos didn't get in the way, I'm literally positive I would have been a pro. A couple years ago, me and my friend Kevin decided to start Field Soccer Supply. Field is a soccer-based clothing brand, but mostly Field's an idea that was created from me being involved in bands and tattooing, etc. for over 25 years and experiencing the crucial, amazing, connecting element of what makes the world go around: community. We kind of exist to elevate the passion for the beautiful game and just connect music, culture, historic moments along the way. So if you've got kids in soccer or you play in an adult league with your mates, you know how it goes. Every season, new uniforms, new fees, new hassles, new everything. Soccer is the biggest sport in the world, but is literally the #1 sport in America that kids actually stop playing. And the main reason is simply just the cost of everything. All those old polyester jerseys end up in a landfill something too, and the love of the game kind of follows soon after. We're going to do something different. We take old uniforms headed for the dump and recycle them. We then use the recycled polyester to create uniforms that any team can love. They're fully customizable team kits, fan wear, and also there's a lifestyle and essentials side to it that celebrate amazing moments in soccer and music history combined. You know, playing is the most important thing. We host monthly play-for-free pickup games here in Southern California, and we're just getting started. The goal is to eventually do this everywhere and help make playing doable for anyone. Check out The Field Dream on socials and thefieldDream.com for more info and join our team. Okay, I'm going to hand you back to the real host of the pod and get back to the regular programming. Thanks for listening.
Got to give a big shout out to Liquid Death. I've been in a band called H2O for 30 years. And my first real job with a company is a water brand. Go figure. Love you, Liquid Death. Love the people. Love the brand. Love the concept. Love what they give back. Love the community. Love what they do for the environment. You can go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on any of their merchandise they make. They have such incredible collabs. Also, if you want to hear the story of the CEO, my good friend Mike Cesario, on the podcast, you can go to episode 115, part 1. And then 2 years later, we dropped a part 2, which is episode 275 with the CEO, Mike Cesario. Just a man from Delaware with a dream, worked at a marketing company, and made this become a reality. Liquid Death is an incredible company, incredible water, incredible people. And I'm super, super honored to be part of them. They sponsor my life. They sponsor everything, my family. So go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on anything you want to buy on that site. If you want to get water, it's exclusively on Amazon.com. Murder your thirst, y'all. It's so crazy, dude. I was just saying the other day, the Bain guys hit me up. They said, we want to go see Ian. I said, all right, that's all right. I text Ian on Sunday, and they go, we'll be there tomorrow. And I text Amanda, and then I emailed Ian. And then I called Discord, but he didn't answer. And then I was just go there, and they all like were pushing each other upstairs. Who's going to knock on the door first? And whoever knocked, he answered the door, and he gave him the fucking tour for 2 hours, dude.
Yeah, he's really like...
He's the best,
It's
dude.
cool that he's just like really sort of opened that up, you know?
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
and I feel like...
I'm not... We're recording, but it's getting a warm-up go.
You know, it's like that's an important place of history, you know?
Absolutely.
And that the archival sense of it is like... is really important. I think Ian understands that. You know,
Yeah.
he's just
Sure.
like, and so I kind of feel like at some point, who knows, it'll be like they'll take the house and make it into a museum.
It's
much
gotta
like
be.
much like the Motown Museum in Detroit.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that house, office, recording, whatever is that. I could see that.
Definitely
happening.
could see that happen.
But Ian will continue to do tours as long as he can. He's not going to like leave
Right.
that.
And he should.
Yeah.
You know, he's like a wealth of.
It's like going to like Willy Wonka, man.
Is this
It's like
yours?
going, yeah. It's like going to like the chocolate factory when you go because it's just everything you love and it's like your childhood stuff and
Yeah.
holding the lyrics to straight edge.
It's
Fucking
crazy because as a kid, I never would imagine a million years to be even saying that it could be a museum house or something like that, or you know.
No, you would
Totally.
you would never. I mean, I think that just like being privy and part of and contributing to this culture, subculture, whatever,
Yeah.
like in real time, right? As kids, you would have never thought that. To us, it already was a museum. It was like a monument or something.
True.
You know, it was like, oh, this cool stuff's happening there.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
you wouldn't think about it in terms of like 20, 30, 40
Right.
years later. Who knows how long later that.
Same with Gilman Street too.
Yeah. There would be these places that, you know, someday like someone's like, let's go to the Smithsonian and then we're going to go by this place called the Discord House. It's like, you know, it's sort of this nucleus of punk rock and hardcore and alternative music, you know, community based, you know, who knows? It's just like, it's wild.
We're recording, but I can erase it. But also when Travis was going there, he hit me up too. And it was a Sunday, so nobody was going to be there. And he went there like with a black SUV with security with Courtney. And when I saw them after, she's like, Toby, he brought me to this weird, creepy house on the street. It was so important to take a photo on the steps. Like, she has no idea what that shit means or what any of it is. And like, there was a leg in the front, the skateboard, fucking.
Why would she?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
It's like, you know,
I know. I mean, the coolest story is when they had all this shit in the Smithsonian, and Ian was going to meet somebody out front of the Smithsonian, drop off some stuff, and he skated on that skateboard up to the stairs, and then like grabbed it and walked up the stairs. He skated the piece of history up to the Smithsonian too, because to him it's just a skateboard. You know what I'm saying? It's
it
fucking,
is
Yeah,
just
you know,
a
and I think like,
you know.
again, if you're sort of outside of all this, like, you know, I think obviously Minor Threat is a gateway punk hardcore band, and
yeah.
Fugazi is a gateway punk hardcore alternative band or whatever. But the majority of people outside, again, of the community, they don't understand what Discord Records is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people don't understand what SST Records is. You know, you're like, SST, Greg Ginn's label. And people are like, Greg Ginn? You're like, Black Flag. You know, I'm talking more like civilian normies. And they're like, oh yeah, Black Flag. And you're like, well, he also put out Soundgarden and The Descendants and Bad Brains and The Screaming Trees. And, you know, it's like, it's like you're Sonic Youth, The Minutemen. And people are like, and they're like, Sonic Youth?
Yeah.
Dinosaur Jr.? Oh, wow. You know, they don't realize, like, and that's kind of like I think in a way, Discord's a little bit more even obscure because
Yeah,
you're like teen idols. You know, people be like, what?
Yeah.
I'll never know.
And the norms would just be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Circus
Soul
Lupus.
Side, yes,
yeah,
yes,
you know, they'd
yeah.
be like, I don't what? What are you talking about?
Fidelity Jones.
Yeah,
Beef
you know,
Eater.
high back
Yeah.
chairs.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not going to
Yeah.
know.
So many fucking bands, man.
Yeah.
You guys ready to start this pod? Maybe we'll start like this.
Let's
We'll
start
I
it.
feel like we already
I
started.
don't know.
Yeah.
Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Once
Toby.
Again. Hi, Derek. Derek's here again.
Hi.
My co-host with the most, Mr. Derek Green. Thank you, man.
Thank you for the 2 coffees.
Yeah, dude, these have been some nice morning pods this week. Just
Oh, yeah.
wake up, pod, drink coffee, have a conversation.
It's already kicking in. I just like all of a sudden
Serious?
there's like a smile on my face, like giggles,
Oh,
like
your coffee?
going into the past, like in my mind, like already. It's insane.
Going to the past?
Like thinking in the past, we had a little convo like
Yeah.
before this. I'm like, oh my God, yeah. I'm ready.
Sam Velde, welcome to the podcast.
Happy to be here with you, Toby, singer of H2O, and Derek Green of Outface.
That's right.
Crisis/Revelation Records.
Thank you.
I
Ohio.
appreciate that,
Ohio
yeah.
legacy, right?
Hell yes.
I'm glad we finally met because I knew your name for years throughout the scene and this whole world that we're in, and then different things, always great things about you. Then ended up connecting with you a couple years ago, and obviously big fan of Ska and 7 Seconds and the bands you work with. Haywire too now, right?
Yeah, yep. Working with
So you're
Haywire.
managing all these bands.
Yeah, I manage. I manage Scowl and a group called Nuevo Testamento with my buddy Ricky Singh, East Coast in the house.
These episodes dropping Monday. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I work with Haywire with my buddy James Alicio, who you know, who
Cool.
manages Drain and a bunch of other bands. So, and big shout out to those guys. You know, huge shout out to those guys.
Dude, Haywire. Are you familiar with Haywire?
Yeah.
They just
yeah.
did like 80 shows or something, like the longest tour I've ever seen in my life
I've
in
been
America.
watching a lot of stuff on
Yeah,
on the gram.
It's like
Incredible.
like 100
Yeah.
shows over
Wow.
last spring.
That's how you
know,
Yeah, I
do
saw
it.
them at that show you were there. It was an
Where
incredible
are they
show.
from originally, Haywire?
from Boston.
Boston.
Boston,
Yeah,
that's
represent,
right.
dude.
Yeah, they're very Boston.
Very Boston.
First time I heard them, I'm like, this reminds me of Slapshot. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yes.
like, you know, that's our generation, you know?
Mhm.
But I love the stuff he talks about on stage, mental health, sobriety, all the stuff he's talking about pretty honestly, and just his stage presence. And I saw they're doing shit with Dropkick Murphys coming up.
Yeah, I just did a European tour with Dropkick, and they're doing dates with a U.S. tour. You know, yeah, we were both at that show, and
Yeah.
I had seen them once before, and you and I were talking a little bit after. You know, there was something about that show and Austin in particular, how he communicates with the crowd. You know, it's in such a very real and vulnerable way.
Yes.
You know, and inclusive, and talking about like real stuff. You
Yeah,
know,
I think he like almost lost a family member. They survived or something.
we're talking about suicide
Yeah,
and
man.
just kind of a hardcore show or a punk show. You know, it's like a lot of people feel disenfranchised by whatever in life.
Yes.
You know, but you go there and you're not. You know, and there's a lot more people there that like are concerned with how you're doing. You know, and the way he spoke really harkened back to sort of my sort of early days of going to or discovering hardcore
Yeah.
versus punk, you
Yes.
know, and that's for me is Uniform Choice, and the way that Pat Dubar spoke and interacted to the crowd, you know, and,
Yeah.
and you felt part of it, you know, and
Sure.
and that's what really kind of brought me back. And that was something that was a little different at the time than punk music. Punk music was a little more like, fuck you.
That's true.
You know, and I love that too.
Mhm.
Or hardcore, especially the kind of hardcore that I was sort of getting more into and would eventually be kind of more involved with. And it made me feel more involved with was a band like Uniform Choice. And I just really picked up on that kind of stuff with Austin. And it was like, it really moved me.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting.
It's real.
Yeah.
And people know it's real. Yeah. He's just being honest about
I
it.
think maybe for us, it was, I don't know, that feeling of connection with the band as far as like on stage and between songs is really important. I think for me and maybe for you was like Youth of Today.
I knew it. I knew
Sure.
Youth of
They
Today,
definitely
yeah.
had that, you know, it definitely made you feel a part of something and a part of something bigger than ourselves, you know, and that
Sure.
was like
1,000,000%.
very important that you said
Yeah,
that.
especially
Yeah.
your East Coast or
Yeah,
more East
yes.
Coast, you know, so you had that, you know, and out here we had kind of starts with Uniform Choice, at least
That's
for
amazing.
me, you know. But that through Uniform Choice, I discovered Youth of Today.
Yes.
Obviously Wishing Well, and
That's incredible, man.
and then you know Youth of Today kind of branding it as a youth crew. You know, that
Right.
that in itself, it's like you're young,
Yeah.
you're part of our crew.
Yeah.
You know, like that. What amazing sentiment, you know, to
Yeah.
make
Mhm.
like just make people feel welcome. You know, like,
Sure.
yeah, I'm part of the youth crew. You know, I'm part of this. What genius, you know, like,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that genius in some sort of marketing strategic way, just like,
Right.
just because it was pure
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
cool and it was unifying kids,
Yeah, absolutely.
you
Sure.
know, and
Yeah.
it created even a deeper community, and everybody felt a part of that community, and you still do because of that, you know,
Sure.
whether you're
Sure.
50 or 30, and that's not to be some weird like cornball old hardcore dude, but
Yeah.
it's like, but that shit is real,
so real.
you know, and it's an indelible mark. You know, you're discovering this stuff in your late teens, early 20s. It's such a formidable time of
Mhm.
discovery and connecting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, that's the thing about music. It's like you connect with it, whether it's Uniform Choice or it's fucking whatever it is, Selena Gomez.
Yeah,
It doesn't really
Oasis,
fucking
right,
matter, you know,
whatever.
but it's that connection that you feel, and it
Yeah.
draws you in, and like, wow, music is a really fucking powerful art form. It's fucking insane.
So powerful,
Mhm.
man.
You know, it's like it's huge. And
Yeah.
it's it's honestly it's single-handedly the most important thing in my life.
Yeah.
Always has been.
Always has been since
You know.
very young.
Obviously, you know, aside from my personal connections with people,
Yeah.
you know, with my friends and family, loved ones.
Growing
like
up,
that.
do your parents play music in the house and stuff like that? And was your
So my
first
parents
exposure?
divorced when I was really young.
Okay.
I think they broke up when I was like 1 year old.
And where were you growing up?
So I
Which
I was
county?
I was born in New Rochelle Hospital.
What?
Yeah.
Where?
New Rochelle.
New York?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So I was born in New York. My parents were living like Rye, New York, I think, Westchester County, something like that.
Wow.
And so they broke up when I was 1. My mom is from Southern California. She moved us back. She moved us to Orange County when I was 3.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I'm an Orange County kid,
Yeah.
you know, but I was born in New York. But yeah, you know, my mom, you know, I think it was just kind of like anybody. She, you know, she had the radio on a lot.
Yeah.
You know, my earliest memories of music are really like a Saturday morning, you know, because mom's home, because mom worked 9 to 5. You know, she was a working girl, you know, working lady. And I had an older sister. She passed away, but you know, she'd have the music on in the house, the radio, and Saturdays were like you wake up and you got to like do your chores, and then you just got to do something fun or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was the stuff of the time, you know. That sort of part where you start to remember music and stuff. It would be like Steve Miller,
Right.
stuff of like
classics.
the late
Yeah.
70s, you know,
So good.
and like, but like super being drawn to that,
Yeah.
you know, and then, you know, you're influenced at that moment by your parents
Mm-hmm.
until you're not, you know,
Right.
and then it shifted into my older sister being influenced by like what she was listening
How
to.
much older was she?
Yeah.
4 years older than me.
Okay.
So, you know, and I remember things like, you know, kind of one of the first memories is my mom's like, I'm going to take you guys to the record store and you get to buy a record, you know, and my sister buys Rumors by Fleetwood Mac.
Hell yeah.
Classic.
And, you know, you're like,
Classic.
you're listening to it, you're like, this is cool. I like this. This is kind of like my mom and my sister's thing,
Right.
but
Yeah.
this is cool. And like, I bought Kiss Alive 1.
Everybody
know,
talks about
complete
Kiss on
opposite.
here so much.
Yeah, because
I mean,
Kiss
at the
was
time,
like,
yeah.
at the time, and it's also like they looked
Visually,
they looked
yeah.
like a cartoon, and I love
Yeah.
cartoons,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
I didn't really understand the tunes,
Right.
you know, but I would like look at the album and like, you know, the booklet and stuff.
I didn't even think anything about the lyrics.
No, you
Nothing.
you don't know what strutter or deuce or any of this stuff means, you know. Like later on, you're like, Christine's 16. You're like, that would be like a no. You know, in today's culture, you're like, that's
The lyrics
so
are
true.
like
horrible.
like
now.
yeah, like here I am, like 8 years old or 7 or 6 years old. I'm listening to Christine's 16, but it's like, you know, it's funny because people are like, what was your second record? And I'm like, Kiss Alive 2. I'd have them both. Better photos on the second one.
But it's true. They were like magical characters. I love comic books and growing up and cartoons and things, and they just fit right into that.
And then they had a television special, you know,
Yeah.
like Kiss Meets
Right.
Phantom of the Park.
That was so huge.
Yeah, I was like,
remember-
Mom,
oh
I gotta
my God.
watch it. I gotta see it. And then you're like, I don't really know what's going on, but there's Ace Frehley. He's got
Right.
smoke around him and stuff. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Damn.
and then my musical thing kind of, it's Kiss. And then really, I think the most impactful moment, it's funny we're talking about like youth crew stuff, is when I hear this kid reciting the lyrics to My Generation by The Who. And
It's a pretty punk song, man, lyrically. Dude.
Absolutely.
super youth empowerment,
Totally.
like not part of your generation, part of our generation. And,
Yeah.
and I go up and I'm like, what is that? And he's like, it's The Who.
Nice.
And I was like, The Who. And him and I become like really good buddies, right? And his brother's a mod. Go over to his house. His brother has like one wall is painted in the British flag. He's got all the records, all the stuff. And we would like go in his room and like take records, listen to him. Oh, he's coming home. He's coming home. Put it back in the thing. Put it in his room. And so I'm like, and it was The Who, you know, and it was like,
Yeah.
so like my mom was like, okay, I'm taking you to the record store. Today you get 2 records. And I'm like, she's like, what are you going to get? I'm like, The Who. So I just go, whatever has My Generation on, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Which
Right.
just ends up being this record called Meaty Beady Big and Bouncy. And it's the early era of The Who. And I bought the Kinks' greatest hits too.
Nice.
But
Love the
I put on that record. The first song on it is I Can't Explain. You know,
Yeah.
you know, Can't Explain,
Explain.
which is also a
Great song.
cool tune. Like,
Yeah.
like I got this feeling, and I don't know what it is, but it's cool, right? But the second song, I believe it's the second song, is a song called Anyway, Anyhow, Anywhere. And there's a part in the bridge where it's like, Roger Daltrey's like, nothing gets in my way, not even locked doors. I'm not going to follow the lines that have been laid before. I get along any way I dare. Anyway, anyhow, anywhere. And I was like,
Damn.
boom.
Bars.
Y'all can
Bars.
fuck off. You know what I mean? Like, mom and like teachers, y'all can just fuck off. It's anyway, anyhow, anywhere. Like, I was so
Yeah.
empowered by them as like a really young person. And I was like, and then I saw Quadrophenia.
Oh, that's.
And it was like, I was like, ooh.
Game changer.
You know,
Yeah.
obviously it's like taking place in a different country. They look so cool. It's just big middle finger to everything.
Yeah.
He's confused by life. He's confused by what he's supposed to be. Like, go get a job and do all this stuff. But I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be. It's just like super duper.
It's great those lyrics connected you very young like that too.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
I mean, those are pretty intense topics, you know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, the
Spoke
Who-
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Big,
especially that
big
movie
time.
was so,
Like, how old are you
so
then?
good.
I'm about 10 or 11.
Okay,
Damn.
Yeah.
Really?
About 10. Because like soon after the Who announces their final tour with the Clash, supporting, I get a ticket to go. My sister and I get tickets. I called my grandpa. I'm just like, hey, I don't know how to do this stuff, but you're a guy. So my grandfather lives in New York. He was like a really big film industry guy.
Nice.
Worked for United Artists. He was like vice president of
Wow.
United Artists, like distribution and stuff. I'm like, I feel like grandpa can give me a ticket to this.
Yeah.
So my
He knows what's
grandpa
up.
was like, yeah, just, give me a second. Yeah, you got 2 tickets, whatever.
Damn.
And I'm like, and then the Clash is, I think had just put out Combat Rock.
Wow.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to like make sense of that. That was like a couple more months later, I'd be like punk. But it was like, so, then my mom was like, I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to see The Who and the Clash at the Memorial Coliseum in downtown Los Angeles in 1978. The Who had a concert, and it was festival seating, and people were trampled. And that's not a very good
man.
part of town, and I just don't feel comfortable letting you go and your sister just go.
Right.
And it was like, Mom, no. I remember she was like, don't worry, they're going to get back together. The Eagles did it too. And I was like, they're not getting back together. They're never getting back together, Mom. What a ludicrous
Damn.
thing to say. And then, of course, like,
Yeah.
7 years later, it's like, The Who's back.
Right.
And I was like, Mom,
That's right.
you're not supposed to be right.
I
Like,
can't believe you get to go to that. Fuck.
I know, it was crushing.
Wow.
But it was a really cool time in music. There was a mod revival happening in England and Southern California, and K-Rock my sister listened to K-Rock, and you'd hear the Jam, and you'd hear the Specials, and English Beat, and Secret Affair, and all these cool bands. And then one day she, for her to get to her room, she had to pass my room. I was sitting there, and she, when you're older, you're kind of like always watching the older brother or sister.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You're like,
and
like she was out. She went out.
Right.
Where's she at?
Yeah.
Where's she at?
She's
She's doing stuff with her friends, and it's always cool. She comes by my room and she goes, Sam. I was like, what? She's like, I just saw the craziest movie ever. I'm like, what was it? She's like, it's about punk. I was like, punk. And the only thing I'd ever heard about punk is I was sitting in the back seat of my dad's car a year or so before, 2 years before, and he was having a conversation with my stepmother and kind of with us about punk and how crazy it was. And this thing was going on in England, and there was this band called the Sex Pistols, and they were sticking, safety pins to their ears and wearing trash bags as like dresses and stuff. And I was just like, you can't really comprehend that stuff. You're like, that sounds totally insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, when can we see Star Wars again?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's crazy. And she was like, punk. I was like, what's a punk? And she was like, oh, these bands, all this stuff. And like, this is like divine intervention, like a couple days, weeks. I can't remember. Very soon after that, I'm at my buddy's house, the Who kid. Mike Lewis was his name. And it's a sleepover, like, Friday night, goes after school, you go, and you like the best, what's the greatest thing can happen to you when you're that age at a sleepover is you get to stay up and watch like TV.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the era of like people are getting cable.
Mm-hmm.
Cable television. You have cable, dude.
Huge.
Do you have cable?
Yeah.
And it was like, and you're looking to a little like booklet. There was like a little booklet that came with it. You're like, what's on? And I think we were maybe just kind of like looking at stuff, and it was like Decline of the Western Civilization.
Is that what you saw?
And I was like,
was it Night Flight?
I was like, probably. And I was like, that's my sister said that's crazy. It's a punk movie, dude. We gotta watch it. We watch it, and that was it.
Damn.
It was like I watched it with total amazement and confusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I've talked about this before. I was just like, you watch that part at the church talking to Black Flag, and I'm like, where are their parents?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was like, where are their parents?
Yeah.
How do their parents let them do this? Like, how is that possible? And I was so mesmerized by it. It was like, and it was like it was like bad,
Yeah.
but like I knew it wasn't bad. I was like, people think this is bad, but this is actually like good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first record I bought. I was like, I went to, it was back in the day where like one store had punk records.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like you could just go anywhere. It was like one store, and it was like the pilgrimage to get to that store. And then like that store was like kind of scary. Like, dude, is there any punks in there? And like I bought the soundtrack, that and the Social Distortion's 1945 7-inch, and that was it.
Damn.
That was the beginning of like really, getting into
super young too.
Yeah. And that was subversive music at the time, and
Yeah.
it was. Whether it was or it wasn't, in reality, it was painted that way.
Mm-hmm.
Punk was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You were like,
shocking.
yeah, you were like you're punk. Oh, that means you do bad stuff. You're like a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
You hang around with these bad people, and then you're like, no, I don't.
I mean, the name itself, punk. It's
Yeah.
like a punk kid,
Yeah. You're like, no, this is so cool and exciting, and of course there is that element because that comes with anything.
For sure.
But like. You're just like, no, but there's like more to this,
Sure.
and then you keep discovering and going through the Black Flags into the Discharges, and you make it into, for our generation again, you make it into the 7 seconds and the stuff like that. And then you're like, oh shit, I remember like sitting with my mom, I was in her eyes, I was a bad kid, and I was a troubled kid. And I got sent away to school and stuff like that. But I remember sitting down and reading her the lyrics of The Crew.
Mm-hmm.
To like, listen, like this isn't what you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, look at these lyrics. Read these lyrics. Let me read them to you.
That's a game changer, the Crew record, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, we're going to be more than a drugged out threat. It's like I'm like, there's like a real message of like good things here.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how old are you when that? Wait, so that's like 80. I forgot what year the Crew came out.
don't
82, 83, I don't even know.
Wow.
Yeah, but
But you're too young. You're too young to even be partying and doing anything at that point.
no. But I have a kind of a really early relationship with alcohol.
Okay.
Because I was kind of left to my own devices, and I had a sister that was 4 years older than me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sober.
Yes.
Just past
How many years sober now?
7 years and about to be 7 years and 4 months.
Awesome.
Nice.
Man.
But I remember
Congrats.
taking a drink. Probably around 10.
Wow.
My sister kind of looked after me, and she did the best she could. But she's like trying to have a social life and stuff like that. So she would like take me to parties because like she was my babysitter. And then like, little man, have a sip of this.
Yeah.
And I remember, being like her, like kind of like, go up in this room and there's records here, and like
Just hang out in there.
stay. Yeah, just hang out in there. and like putting on Rolling Stones and putting on Jimi Hendrix and making sense of all that stuff and being really into it.
Yeah.
Like really just always been really, really like into music, rock music, any punk music, reggae, dub, whatever. Like and connecting all the dots. Wait, the Clash has reggae. Bob Marley, you're like, okay, like connecting that dot to that dot.
Are you finding kids your age at that point that are into similar music that they're onto punk?
No, because, this is a time when there was like one punk dude,
Yeah.
and that didn't mean you were going to be like buddies with him.
True.
Right.
That sort of starts to expand. Like I got sent away to school.
Yeah, what do you mean? What happened? You got in trouble? Or
It's funny.
what do you mean sent away?
I'm growing up in Newport Beach at this point. I lived in Corona del Mar, Newport Beach, Irvine, Costa Mesa. That's my Orange County, quad,
Yeah.
But 8th grade, middle school, my dad lived in Minnesota,
Okay.
and my mom had decided that I was a bad kid. And I've talked to her about this before. I was
Were you
like,
getting in trouble in school? Or
I was like, I wasn't that bad. She's like,
Right.
a day didn't go by.
Right.
No, a week didn't go by that you weren't in the principal's office. And I'm like, I try to rack my brain now.
You're
I'm
like, what were you doing to go into...
I don't remember that, but maybe I was just too much for you as a single mom.
Yeah.
And you don't want to get calls, or you don't want to know, like, I didn't make it home by 6 p.m. I made it home at 7 p.m. Or
Like a class clown or something, like a hyper kid? Like,
I think I was just a kid,
yeah.
Your grades bad?
I've never been a school person until later. I became when I decided I wanted to go to college. In junior college, I went psycho and became like a really good student. But
in school, you give a fuck.
no, I didn't care. At this point, it's like punk and it's skating.
Skateboarding.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the beach,
Yeah.
and so,
Were you punk for sports? No sports?
well, I was a sports kid.
Okay.
Yeah. I played sports, and then I got sent to, a boarding school in northern Minnesota called Shattuck St. Mary's in Faribault. It's like not that far from Duluth,
That's so far from...
Well,
I know.
also too, you take a kid that's like,
How old are you then?
grows up at the beach.
Yeah,
you put him in like the
cold.
Fucking winter.
Like, Jesus Christ.
dude. Like,
Culture shock.
I mean,
I think I'm like 12.
Oh, my God.
That's brutal, man.
So like 12, it would be 82, 83. I'd get kicked out in 83 and then my mom's moved to Irvine. But yeah, so.
You're saying you're by yourself, you don't know anybody there, is getting
No,
sent to
just sit there, and then you're like, no one here likes punk.
Right.
And I meet this one older girl. It was co-ed. Her name was Sal. And she was like, you know who Skidoo? And I was like, I don't know what that is. And then that opens up another door. We start connecting more dots, and then that's kind of where there's no punk record store. Like the punkest thing is finding more Clash records.
Yeah.
How
long are you there for?
I wasn't even there a full year. And then I came back to Orange County. My mom had moved to Irvine. And I finished out 8th grade in Irvine. I was thinking about the other day, I had to do a book report. And I did my book report on X.
Nice.
I'd found a book on X then, which is crazy. Like
Yeah.
that existed. I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like, man, I hope my mom has that book report somewhere. But I probably turned it in, and that was it.
Right.
So
I remember
cool to
I
have a
cut
copy of
out
that.
the like X symbol, and I had all this stuff, and I wrote this thing on X, and I remember that time, just like that's when like My War comes out, and I remember being like, oh, side A is cool. What is this what is side B? What is this stuff?
Right.
Slow, like
That's right.
dudes that like smoke weed in the parking lot stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like I was didn't understand that.
Yeah. Was that Game Changer Black Flag for you?
No, I've told the story before and I'll tell it here. It's the game changer for me is really, really important. In terms of punk and hardcore.
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of, like I said, I love music and there's all kinds of game changers for me.
Yeah.
Where it changes the way I listen to music, but at the time I had come home on what I remember Thanksgiving, vacation, you go back to, so get back to Southern California. My mom lives in Irvine now. I'm just like, that might as well be Egypt if you're a beach kid.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's like growing up in Malibu and having to move to the valley
Okay.
All right.
in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like there couldn't be a worse thing my mom could have done.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow I had borrowed a copy of a Flipside compilation. And so people that don't know, Flipside was this really incredible zine here from LA that
Sure.
in-depthly covered independent music, mostly punk and hardcore and some adjacent kind of stuff, and just incredible. It was a Bible,
Yeah.
and then it's offshoot Ink Disease, and then you got Maximum Rock and Roll and stuff like that. And I'd borrowed this comp, and I can still picture this today. I remember what my mom, the condo, I remember the couch was, faced the television. The television was, there was a sliding glass door, went out on a patio. I was just, the kitchen was to the right. I'm literally just sitting on this couch listening to the comp. And the comp has like the FUs on it. I think GBH was on it. I think there was a Misfits song on it. And I'm just listening to it. I borrowed it, so a lot of this stuff's new.
Yeah.
And I probably borrowed it from some kid that I went to 7th grade with or 6th grade, which I don't know who that could have been, to be honest with you.
Wow.
And my sister walks in. And she's with this dude. He's like this bigger dude. And she's like, "Hey, Sam, this is my friend Pat." And I'm like, "Hey, Pat." And she's like, "I'm going to go upstairs and like, blah, 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 whatever." Obviously, they're going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm listening to the comp and he's like, "Hey, man." And I was like, "Hey." And I'm like 8th grade. I'm like, I don't care about anything. Like, I'm just like, okay, now you're interrupting me listening to punk music.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "You into this stuff?"
Oh, dude, I know what this is, man. Go.
And I'm like, and I remember just being like, even then I'm like, am I into this stuff? Well, I'm listening to it, dickhead. But I'm like, yeah. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm on this comp." And I'm like, "Okay, what band are you?
Mm-hmm.
What band are you in?" Now I'm like, kind of like, really intrigued. And he's like, "Oh, I play drums in this band, Plane Rap."
I remember playing rap. Remember them?
No.
Yes,
So I get the thing and I'm like, "Oh yeah, Plane Rap, it's on here. That's you." I don't know what song it was, but I remember they had this song, "Red Light, Green Light, Red Light, Green Light, go."
Yeah.
And
I remember them.
And I'm like, "Oh wow, yeah." And we start talking. He's like, "I'm in this other band I play drums in. They're called Uniform Choice." And I'm like, "I don't know." I go, "What's that? What does that sound like?" And he goes, "Sounds like Minor Threat."
Yes.
And I'm like, "What's that?" And he's like, "You never heard Minor Threat?" And I'm like, here comes the like older guy mansplain, but like that shit was like, you love that shit. You're like, "No, what's Minor Threat?"
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Oh, dude, you gotta check out Minor Threat." So it's like, okay. And we're talking and stuff, and he's kind of giving me this attitude, like he's like kind of like over it.
Mm.
And somehow in this conversation, by the way, his name is Pat Dyson. He played drums on Scream for Change.
Wow. Amazing.
And I owe a lot to Pat Dyson. And somehow in this conversation, he basically says he'll give me his record collection.
What?
I wish I could tell you how that transpired. I don't know how it happened, but it was in what I remember, it was kind of like this attempt to be cool.
Yeah.
And he liked my sister.
Mm.
Ah.
Wow.
She friend zoned him.
Okay. But you got the records.
But like we loved him. Like our family loved him. I loved him.
Okay.
Like and and we became friends,
He gave you that.
So they take off to do whatever they're going to do, right? My sister can drive at this point or whatever,
Yeah.
So who knows, went to a movie or whatever you do at like 16 and you're in the friend zone. And I'm like, hours go by. I don't know what I'm doing. My mom's like, "Hey, I got to go over to Newport to pick up your sister at Pat's house. Do you want to go?" And I was like, ding, ding, ding. Yes.
Yes.
because I have an alternative motive.
For sure.
Right.
So we go, and it's not even alternative. He said I could have it.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And so we go, and I'm like, I'll get out. I'll go get her. So I get out of the car, knock on the door. I think his mom answers, and I'm like, hey, is Pat here? I'm here to pick up. She's like, hold on. Pat walks up. He's like, hey. And I was like, hey, we're here to pick up Jen. He's like, okay. And I'm like, hey, can I get those records you told me I could have? And remember, he just like looked at me, and it was quiet, and I was like, oh shit. And he was like, yeah, but you can't have any of my fast stuff.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. Like, I don't even know what that means. I have no idea what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes back, and I shit you not, with a stack of records.
Wow.
Yeah.
About that many records.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't a lot of time for him to like go through them.
Yeah.
Okay.
He hands me the stack of records. I get in the car. I go home. I start taking inventory. And I still have those records to this day. It's Bad Religion. How Can Hell Be Any Worse?
Wow.
It's
That's
bad.
fast.
It's Bad Brains. I and I Survive.
Bruh.
Destroy Babylon 12-inch. It's Dead Kennedy. All the Dead Kennedy stuff at the time. Plastic Surgery Disasters. In God We Trust.
Incredible albums.
Vandals, which
Peace
you
to
have.
Vandalism.
Peace Through Vandalism, which you have on your thing up there
Yeah,
in your
man.
office. It's all this stuff plus the Punk and Dis. Well, no, I didn't have the Punk and Disorderly
Punk and
comp. It was
Disorderly
Let,
comp
Let Them
was
Eat Jelly Beans
legendary.
comp was in there,
Great.
which also has Pay to Come by Bad
Yes.
Brains.
Yeah.
And then it's like some sort of outer stuff like PIL, and it's like Flipper and the first Beat Puppets record.
Damn.
And so it's all these records. And so within hours, Pat Dyson has just informed me
Yeah.
about punk and pre-hardcore,
For sure, man.
as well as put in like who's Minor Threat and what does Uniform Choice sound like.
Yeah. It's amazing, man.
And I go back to school.
I can't even imagine.
I'm in school for maybe another 3-4 months. I take the records with me. I play those to death, like to death. And again, Bad Brains are playing reggae. I find out who fucking Bob Marley is.
Yeah.
I found out who Peter Tosh is.
Yeah.
I start doing all this stuff,
Research.
and, I eventually get asked to leave that school. Like, cause I'm a kid from California. I don't want to be there. So I do stuff to like not want to be there.
So he kicked out of the boarding school, basically.
Yeah. Cause kids always win.
Yeah, for sure.
They're just more persistent than
Mhm.
parents
Yeah.
can keep up with. It's like, I'm going to push you, and so they're like, your kid can stay here, but we're not going to ask him back. So you can either spend the money to keep him here and he's not going to stay, or you can take him out now.
Mhm.
And they're like,
Wow.
you're gone back to California.
Fuck.
My mom was living in Irvine.
Did you find Minor Threat when you're back?
Yeah. So
Okay,
I
yeah.
found Minor Threat by listening. You would stay up late at night
Mhm.
and listen to KUCI.
Okay.
There's like the punk show on at like, midnight or whatever. And you'd put the cassette in and you'd just wait to record.
For sure.
And you'd just record stuff after they were talking.
Yeah.
And and I remember one of the songs was off Out of Step.
Damn.
And I was like, what the fuck? And then
Yeah.
it's like it all, and then,
Mhm.
I go see Uniform Choice. Pat included me in going to shows. Like
Wow.
and my mom trusted him.
Wow.
So I would go see Uniform Choice, and I had the
Some
opportunity.
early shows. Wow.
Early shows. And, I remember seeing them at Fenders. I set them all over the place, and that's like a shift, that's where you don't feel as like you would go to a punk show. They were kind of terrifying,
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's important to like, I don't know if people really
Realize.
realize, yeah, especially as a kid, like a really
Yeah.
young
Sure, man.
kid. You're like, dude, I could get killed and no one's gonna remember. It's like,
Yeah.
like, and you're really just you're like a passenger. You're just like, I'm just here. But it was when I started going to see something like Justice League
Yeah,
or
Justice League.
Uniform Choice or 7 Seconds, and these sort of bands, you start to feel like kind of more a part of it. Like,
Sure.
like you're mere being there, you're participating,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're starting to meet kids that are a little younger than the punk shows,
Yeah.
and you start to have more in common with them, and you realize they're doing things, and then you realize it's a scene. You're like doing things. Oh, you're a zine, or you brought your camera here,
Yeah.
or like you're communicating with other kids that aren't in your high school,
Yeah.
which is super weird.
Mhm.
It's not weird at all, but at the time, like,
Mm-hmm.
I have friends that don't go to high school with me.
Yeah.
And, like we meet up at these things. And then, skateboarding is just there the whole time.
Sure.
You know, and I never connected like punk skateboard because I'm a beach kid.
Yeah.
We skated because we live in a surf community.
Yeah.
So that's like where skateboarding starts.
Sure.
Skateboarding starts on a plastic skateboard.
Yes.
You know, like,
man.
and then, you know, we find out there's a couple skateboards in this garage, so we steal them. You know, my friend Bobby gets the Power Peralta Ray Bones, and I get the GNS, and then like, you know, you can loosen the trucks, and you start to, you know, mimic surfing on a skateboard. You want to go skate a bank and all this stuff, but then you meet people in this punk hardcore community, and they skate, and then they're skating ramps and bowls.
Yes.
And then like you find the Aggression, Don't Be Mistaken record, and you're like, I can be punk and wear shorts.
Yeah.
Right.
And like Vans.
True.
Because like these dudes do.
For sure.
Like Ian MacKay does.
Yeah.
I see him wearing Vans.
Yes. Still does.
Yeah, you know, yeah. I just rambled so hard, but
No, it's so true though.
I told you like I have coffee before I have coffee.
I love this, dude.
Here I am, man.
I mean, I feel like we talk a lot on here is that the hardcore stuff did make you feel like you were more accepted because you didn't have to have a mohawk or a leather jacket or a spot. You know what I'm saying? Especially the youth crew stuff. It was like more like, hey, I don't have to party to have fun and be part of punk. I can still skate to this aggressive music. I don't have to get drunk. You know what I mean? I love Gangrene, Another Wasted Night. Like I skated to Gangrene, right? But then Minor Threat, you hear this message. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm like 12 years old. I don't want to drink or do drugs, and I can skate to this and still be punk. Sign me up. You know what I mean? Like that's the connection.
I've never been straight edge, so it's like, but I really appreciated that sentiment.
Yeah.
Because there was so much conviction to it, and I understood it, you know, and I just liked a lot of the other lyrics too, you know, like, you know, Small Man, Big Mind and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man.
You know, like, Big Band, Small Mind.
Small Man, Big Mouth.
You know, but like, I'll you know, I like really connected with a lot of that stuff. And then you connect with the energy of that person on those people on stage too.
Yes.
You know,
did you guys see Minor Threat back then?
No, I never saw Minor Threat, never saw Black Flag. But I was, you know, it's freshman year. It's like, I'm wearing Doc Martens and I'm splattering bleach on my jeans and stuff. You know, obviously I'm it's funny because
that's very English inspired, correct?
Yeah.
sick.
Because like the gateway is American stuff, and then I meet this guy Mark Hayworth.
Mark Hayworth?
Yeah. So
from Hard Stance?
Yeah. So I meet Mark Hayworth.
GB from
I meet Mark Hayworth.
Legend, helmet.
At UCI. Like on this green belt, there was like some sort of event going on, and there was a DJ, and like I was just like, mom's like, get out of the house, don't come back till like 4, you know. And I'm with a friend, and I think I was with this guy Mike Muzzy. He was like a punk dude from Newport, and we were buddies, and like he probably came over to stay with me for the weekend in Irvine, in Egypt, you know. And we were like, just let's go to let's walk, like let's skate around UCI or something. And then you're like, someone's playing the Sex Pistols, let's walk over there. And then there's this kid and this other kid like kind of doing the same thing, and that's Mark Hayworth.
Wow.
And we start talking about punk music, and he's like, what are you into? You know, I'm like, Black Flag, Circle Jerks, Fear, stuff like that. He's like, you should get in the English stuff. I was like, what? He's like, Discharge, GBH, The Partisans. So then I find Punkin's early comp. You know, Vice Squad, Addicts, all that. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So freshman year, you know, I go to part of it's in Irvine, and I go to school with Mark. And Eric Peterson was a kid who's younger than us, but he sang in Hard Stance. Meet him. I meet Zach De La Rocha at University High School. I meet those people. Tim Comerford, you know, everybody. And then my mom is like, we're moving to Costa Mesa, and you can choose. You go to Newport High, or you can go to Corona Del Mar High School with your friends that you grew up with. And I was like, all right, well, I'll go to Corona Del Mar High School. It's funny because my mom was like, that's kind of far, Mom. How am I going to get there? Because my mom was not the person. Yeah. Mom wasn't going to show up at like your basketball stuff. She's like, she buys me a moped. I'm not even old enough to drive. She's like, you're going to drive this. You're going to drive this moped to school and back, and don't get caught.
Wow. That's crazy.
So, but yeah, Mark Hayworth is the one that turned me on to like English stuff. So, you know, freshman year, it's like you start to morph more into like wearing Doc Martens and stuff like that. And then
Fred Perry's and shit.
No, I didn't have access to that stuff.
Oh yeah,
you know, like
pretty expensive.
And also like
hard to get back then.
Yeah, there was one place in Newport. It was called London Exchange that you could maybe get that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'd gotten my docs because Mark Hayward's mom or a friend of his mom was going to England.
Oh, you got right from England.
Yeah, and so we were like,
Wow.
she was like, I'll buy you stuff.
Wow.
And so she bought Doc Martens
That's
for us.
huge.
And, but by sophomore year, I'm like, you're wearing shorts and Vans and stuff. And then like people are like, you're not punk. Oh, because I don't look punk. And then you're like, oh, you don't get it, man.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Like that's where it
Definitely.
really came in. It's like, you don't get it. It isn't about that.
You're right.
That's
100%.
like,
Yep.
it's not about it. All that stuff's cool, but that's not like a checklist.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like that's not what it's about. Because at this point now, it's really about the message.
Absolutely.
It's about that and the riffs and the aggression of it. And that's a game changer.
For
you
sure.
know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like real, like where you start to like sit in your identity a little bit more. You know,
Yes.
like I don't need to like peacock all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't need to show you,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like hardcore is a big part of that too, as opposed to punk, because punk did have such a look to it, an image to it.
It did, but I think the attitude of punk is what I was drawn to, not so much like the
The look-
visual.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it gave me the ability to wear whatever I want. I'd be wearing like pajamas at a show, and I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I was like, what are you gonna do? But hardcore gave me that definite insight of what's going on socially around us.
Mhm.
Awareness and being a part of the scene, which is amazing. But I love that attitude of just like, I'm gonna wear whatever I want,
That was the whole
and
thing with
still
punk.
be a part of
Yeah,
us.
be yourself. There's the whole
Yeah.
thing, dress and be how
Right.
you looked. It wasn't like,
But-
it wasn't.
But it was
dress
definitely
code.
hard because there were a lot of things I thought were very cool. It's like, I can't afford, like Doc Martens are super expensive and things like that.
Yeah.
It just wasn't so accessible. Like even a leather jacket, I remember it's like I went so badly. Like
that was the element of like top tier cool.
yeah,
If you could have a leather jacket and all you want to do is paint it.
yes, and that's
You just
all
wanted
I
to
did. I
put
was
the
just
thing
like,
on it.
yeah,
You wanted to put
exactly.
the 3 X's in the
Which
2
is
lines.
expensive.
it was soup. I remember like saving up money and splitting it with my dad, like going to the like Army Navy store and to get one. I was like, there it is. And I just remember it like, and I can't wait. Like I had all my markers ready to go, like to paint it and
Yeah.
everything. And aggression was definitely what I was painting
An
on it.
aggression on the back.
Oh yeah,
That's
I had
sick.
that
Coolest-
exploited.
Coolest band.
I mean, I was just really, the same. Like I was just like that punk and disorderly. It blew my mind. I was like, these bands are so insane, like so good.
It's crazy that comp too. It's like
That
all,
comp,
all English bands
yeah.
and then a Dead Kennedys song.
Yeah,
I think kind of first when you see the punk, you hear the punk, you want I want to look crazy like the Sex Pistols. I want to do something to my hair.
and I also was just like, I want to, I don't want to be anything a part of what was going on around me as well.
Absolutely.
Like in that '80s vibe of like super preppy.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like that was like a thing.
Oh yeah,
like
prep was. Do you remember this? There was a book that came out. It was called the Preppy
I
Handbook.
remember that.
I
The
remember
preppy
that.
hand was like
Handbook.
Izod and
But it's crazy how like jockey the youth crew thing was too.
yes,
Like
yeah.
the varsity jackets, everything.
Yeah.
It was like it was a crazy
That-
uniform.
I didn't like that aspect,
Hmm.
but I did.
I never
but I
fucked with
liked.
sports.
But I liked some of it. I was like drawn to it. Like
But I did like it was a total rebellion against the spikes and the drunks and the leather jackets and the docks, all that shit. It was a total
That's true.
opposite. I don't know. It was really,
I don't know.
It's punk in itself.
I have
Yeah.
to correct something because I'm a psychopath.
Let's go, man.
So when I was referring to the song "Big Man, Small Mind," that's the Uniform Choice song.
Yeah.
That's influenced by
Small Man, Big
Small
Mouth.
Man, Big Mouth. Yeah.
I
Sorry, I'm a
just-
psychotic person, so I have to correct
No,
that.
I love
so you
that.
guys are like realize what I was.
And dude, this is no like diss to Uniform Choice, but we listened to them recently. That record's like 23 minutes long. I love that record, Living on the East Coast. I love that. But I
loved it.
never realized how how Minor Threat is just a
I
West Coast
I
Minor
never put
Threat.
Well, I
two
think
together
and,
either.
and like this song, they just straight up steals
But I
steals
never-
like
I never
Skew Ball,
put those
Grand
two
Union,
together.
like tune, like and
But his voice too and everything.
yeah, everything.
dude.
I mean, the way he looked. He
Yeah.
wore the slacks,
hard,
the
dude.
slacks with the Vans,
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
shaved
that's
head.
right.
It- Pat Dubar, and I think is at the time, especially for the West Coast, one of the greatest to ever do it. And really at the
For sure.
time, at the time here in the West Coast, really specifically California, Southern California was the only one doing it.
Did you like Staring Into the Sun?
It was like a cross between Ian and Rollins.
Yes.
But at the time, here I am like, I never saw Minor Threat. I never saw Black Flag. I got this. This rips.
Yeah.
This freaking rips. And that's the thing about when people get really into this whole like that's derivative of that and that's derivative of this, and it's like Pete Stahl has a lyric, Pete Stahl of Scream,
Love Scream,
on a really kind of a underrated Scream record called No More Censorship. It's kind of like a really big rock record.
Yeah, good.
He was like, he says something to the fact of like, it's all been done before.
True.
But not by me.
Love that.
But not by me.
For sure.
It's like, right on, dude. And so that's the Uniform Choice thing. Yeah, there's crazy similarities. You know, they took the logo from America's Hardcore and all that stuff. You know, the AHC, the UC. You know, it's like, but like,
it was so great.
But we're still doing it now. You know, and
it's
it's almost in a way, especially in I think hardcore, where hardcore is it's so cool because it really honors like the past. You know, it honors it in like real time. You know, it's like this is a community of like kind of respecting the elders, kind of in a way.
Yeah.
You know, where it's just like, and in some ways, like the highest respect is like, yeah, this song's really influenced by this or that, or
it's true.
You know, it's like, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like
it happens. Yeah,
for sure. Did Minor Threat play with Uniform Choice? You think?
No, never.
That would have been sick.
I didn't realize how like these past pods that we've had. I didn't realize how much of an impact that Uniform Choice had.
So many people
out here.
Yeah.
It's
like,
really, you know, it comes to like what
unity.
What you have
yeah.
at. Oh
yeah.
man, that 7-inch. I used to. I flipped out with that 7-inch, man.
Me too.
I've said this before. I just like, we had this like in the condo in Costa Mesa with. You walk in and there was like our little dining room and there was like a step and then it went down to the living room and I would use the step as a stage and I would like sing into like stuff and I put that 7-inch on like straight on you know, and I'd like jump around and like mimic Pat, you know, but again, it's cause like, at that point I only have Minor Threat records. I don't even know what they looked like live. You see zines.
Yeah.
But even Minor Threat at the time was kind of almost obscure too on the West Coast. You know, the West Coast was really a lot of West Coast stuff and a lot of English stuff because this is what Golden Voice was bringing over. And, you know, thankfully we did get SSD over here, but you would have to have access to go to the Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles, California. You're an Orange County kid an hour away and you're 13, 12. You're not getting a ride.
Yeah.
Up to like one of the scariest places in the States at the time to like go in and be around adults that are like beating the hell out of each other.
True.
You know, it's like, you know, and at that point too, it's like so many punk gangs.
Yeah.
You know, so
it was real back then.
So, you know, you get an opportunity to see something that sounds and looks like Minor Threat at the time and you're like,
and you're friends with them.
This is it, dude.
Yeah.
You know, like,
sure.
wow. You know, like, yeah.
Were you hanging with Zach at the time that when Inside Out started too?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah. Hard Stance is really important for me. Yeah, it's such an incredible band. I listened to it. I was talking to Zach about it not that long ago, and he was just like, it's mediocre. And I was like, no. Those riffs are insane. The riff to Face Reality is like what the tone is, you know, the Jackson through the Randall. It's so good. They were such a cool band, and was there, you know, the first incarnation of Inside Out. I don't know, people totally know about it. You know, it's like it's Vadim Rubin from Half Off on drums.
Half Off, remember them?
It's Sterling Wilson on bass, who was in No for an Answer at the time. He was briefly in Reason to Believe. And it was Rob Hayworth. It was Mark's brother on guitar.
Okay.
The next phase is the phase where they played one show. And then the next phase is basically Hard Stance gets kind of put on hold because Mark signs on to play bass in place of homie, the bass player of Gorilla Biscuits.
Yeah.
You know, Start Today is out. And
Arthur.
They're going to play the U.S. and they're going to Europe, and Arthur can't do it for whatever reason.
I saw them with them.
Yeah, and so Mark is like, I'm going to do it. And then, so that immediately puts Hard Stance on pause.
Wow, okay.
Right? And so I remember being in Mark's kitchen with Zach, and he was like, I'm going to go on tour with Gorilla Biscuits. He's like, no, it's cool because then Zach can like kind of focus on Inside Out. I remember Zach being like, he didn't seem stoked, you know, like, and then, you know, Hard Stance plays in San Diego with No for an Answer. It was like a Krishna thing. this not leading edge, but it was like a Razor's Edge, some sort of like publication, Hare Krishna thing. There was a show in San Diego, and I remember Vic DeCaro was there, and
legend.
That's kind of when we were like, oh, Vic DeCaro, and I knew about Beyond and stuff.
Yes.
And then Vic and Zach connect, and then they start rehearsing with Alex Barreto on drums, and Alex Barreto's living in Moreno Valley, which is like far.
Yeah.
It's like the IE, deep IE.
Mm-hmm.
And Sterling Wilson at the time was like my best friend, so I'm getting like hearing about it and how like into it he is, but no one has like heard it, and no one's really like thinking too much about it. And then they play this matinee Spanky show. They kind of jump on the show, and I drove out there with Sterling. I remember his fucking pickup truck, not knowing what to expect, and then being like, they play, and it's to this day, and I say this, I'm an older person. I've seen a lot of music. Yeah. Whether that's the Stones or, Oasis. I saw Oasis first show in LA, or it's like anything, early Jane's Addiction or I saw Nirvana, that Inside Out show is hands down top 5, one of the greatest things I've ever experienced in my entire life with live music. Damn. We talk about that was like moments of like connection, and someone like Austin Sparkman of Haywire, where you're like, this is so cool. It's such a real connection. Yeah. Right. You feel it. You feel emotional about it. And I don't mean that in a corny way. No. But like there's something that it taps in somewhere, and that Inside Out show. And there was a guy in there in the show, and he was a homeless guy, houseless person, and he was hitting people up for money and stuff. And Zach kind of was like, hey, you make fun of this person. He just addressed it. He's like, this isn't a fucking joke. Like, these people need assistance, and like, give a shit about this. Don't do this fucking crap.
Amazing.
Like that's not what this is about. Yeah. It's the opposite. We're here to fucking help. We're here to make change. We're here to like
love that.
Create something for everybody. And I might have photos. I might have a photo of that person in my collection.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah. But they fucking leveled the place. Like leveled it. And anybody that was there was like, holy shit. And everybody that was there, that they told everybody else it was holy shit.
Was Spanky's a smaller venue? Was it?
Yeah, it was pretty small. And then that became like that summer of 89. It's like you went everywhere that they played. It's like Santa Barbara, going. Gilman Street, going. Shea Cafe in San Diego, going. It was like, it was on.
Did they tour like East Coast too back then?
Yeah, they did an East Coast tour. I
saw that Incarnation.
Oh, you did see
that?
That's
yeah.
right.
It's funny because
you saw that.
Chris Bratton enters the fold as the drummer, and that first rehearsal with Chris Bratton was in my garage.
Damn.
I think it was Sterling's last rehearsal. There was a rift that happened that day. I think it was building, and then that's Chris's first. But by the time they hit the East Coast, I think Alex was back on drums, and Mark was now in Inside Out. When Sterling leaves, it kind of lines up with like Mark coming off the Gorilla Biscuits tour. Now it's like the fall of '89. I don't remember. And then that's that summer. I think that's 90. That's the summer of 90 or whatever. That's like the Quicksand Shelter.
Exactly.
Inside Out tour on the East Coast, which, it's funny what we considered a tour back then. It was probably like four shows. 5 shows.
Exactly.
Tops.
You were at the shows, all of them?
Not all of them now, because the band broke down, and
oh shit,
it was like a whole thing getting stuck in Toronto and some crazy girl's house, and all the band and everybody. It was
damn.
Wild. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. That was an amazing time. It was like I can't stress the impact of that on me. And it's like, I'm not like super like, I don't know, like, these are the greatest times ever, dude, or whatever, like, because I had a lot of other great times and a lot of other areas of music in my life.
Of course.
It's not a linear thing, but it's but that is like, holy fucking shit.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated high school in 88, And then I
Same.
did
Oh,
2
Same.
years. I
You
did
guys
2
are-
years at junior college at Orange Coast College. And Zach and Mark, we all went there. Dan O'Mahony, everybody went there. Dude.
Wow.
It was like that was like where everybody like of our age group just kind of converged. You know, it was
Gotcha.
and it was cool because it was now we were all like I told you had all these friends in other high schools and stuff. Now we're all in the same school.
Right.
Amazing.
You know, we're all there, and it's like talking about this, that, or the other, and then I transferred up to University of Oregon in Eugene in 1990, the fall of 1990.
Oh yeah. What made you go there?
My parents, really my mom, really wanted me to like not. She wanted me to go out of state.
Mhm.
I wanted to stay in state. I wanted to
Yeah.
go to school
Yeah.
in Santa Barbara, and I wanted to stay close to my friends.
Yeah, of course.
And this
Mhm.
music scene and skating and surfing and stuff. But I understood like the idea of like trying different things. My sister had done it, and I applied to a bunch of schools, and I went up to the Pacific Northwest that summer. I was in this band Yuckmouth,
Yeah.
and we were supposed to go up to Washington to play shows with another Orange County band called Head First. And
that
we were
too.
taking the lead of Inside Out, and I think it was Amenity or Force Down had gone up there, and Zach had shared this guy Dennis Chang's contact with me. Dennis Chang was Boiling Point fanzine with his brother Tim
boy.
Tim Singer of
Oh my God, the dead guy.
of Dead Guy.
You remember
No
Boiling
Escape.
Point?
No. Oh yeah.
Oh,
East
yeah.
Coast.
Huge fucking.
So
Right.
he had moved to
Was Tim Owen involved in that?
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
But he had moved
J3.
to Seattle, and he had brought up Inside Out, and Zach was like, dude, it was really cool. There's like a really cool thing happening up there. So I called it, got hold of him. I was like, hey, I'm this band Yuckmouth, and at first, and then the guys in Yuckmouth just kind of last minute, like, can't go, like for whatever reason. I remember I was so pissed, but I had the van. I borrowed the van from my mom's boyfriend, so I was like, I'm going, and I have to go. They're counting on me, and Sterling, my best friend, he jumped in the van, and we drove up to Washington. I don't know why I'm telling you this. I forgot.
Because
I
you
just
went to
lost
college
track.
there.
Oh yeah, so
You had a Bachelor of Science,
yeah,
right?
I think Stella just farted.
That's a
sure,
good sign.
and she
I'm
might
sorry.
Just fall off.
Okay, I'm gonna add
She's
you-
very close to falling.
Okay, I'm gonna
off.
add you to Brolin, Skiba. Who else? I have like 6 people she farted. I'm so sorry.
She's gonna fall off. She did.
I'm sorry,
yes.
Sam.
Healthy little
But Sam, that means she's comfortable with you.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
no,
apologize.
she's like butted up against
For
me.
all the
and-
listeners,
she is.
Sam has just got added to the list of all the guests who've been farted by. So it's a big moment.
Yes,
Sorry, I'm sorry.
I'll take it as that.
Well,
So
you studied science, right? Bachelor of Science.
yeah, I did
Okay.
Bachelor of Science Associated. So we went up there, and I really was like, oh, the Northwest is so cool, and it
It's
was like
beautiful,
kind of
beautiful.
foreign to me to be in that sort of like nature.
For
Mhm.
sure.
And I was like really like kind of drawn to that feeling, and just was really into it. I thought it was really cool. And then I'd been accepted to a couple schools in Oregon, and I was waiting to hear from the University of Washington. And so my dad and I went up to the university. We went up with those 2 schools in Oregon. I remember this is so silly. This tells you everything though. We were walking around the campus, and we walked by a record store, and it had the stuff, it had like the posters and stuff. And I was like, yeah, this will be it.
Damn.
As long as
Wow.
this is here,
Right.
I'm good.
Wow.
And I like the idea of just kind of being in a more natural, forest
Yeah,
environment or whatever. It was kind of scary to do it at the time. And then I got accepted to University of Washington, but I'd already accepted my University of Oregon.
Yep.
So I moved there in the fall of 90.
Wow.
Yeah.
There for a couple years.
What's that? I was there for 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great. It's
You
incredible.
loved it.
Yeah. I was talking to Malachi, formerly of Scal.
Yes.
He's been really getting into the Melvins
Ah.
and like guitar tone and cabinets and all this stuff. And I was telling him, I was like, yeah, when I first moved to Eugene, that's the first band I saw
Oh wow.
was a Melvin show. And I remember Dale Crover, the drummer, was playing in just tighty whitey underwear.
That was his thing.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
And he
Wow.
had the sticks, his drumsticks, extra drumsticks, stuffed into either side of the tighties.
Sick.
And he's wearing gardening gloves
Right.
and had super long hair. And I remember just being like, I don't even know how to categorize this,
Yeah.
what they're doing, like musically.
Yeah.
It's like punk, it's kind of
Love
metal,
that.
it's Sabbath.
Yeah.
Love them?
It's kind
I
of
love that.
it's kind of second side my war. And at that point I'd kind of just embrace that side of the record. But I remember just being like, but I'm into it. This is so fucking cool and weird. And I was kind of telling Malachi that because he's been really like digging into that. Yeah.
So was a big you're going to hardcore shows out there too?
No, that's the thing.
Wow.
Get dropped in Eugene and coming from Orange County, and at the time, I thought Orange County was like the center of the hardcore universe, and everybody knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get up there, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Wow.
They don't know who Instead is. They don't know who Force Down is. Like it's like no, they were into Northwest music. They were the music from their area, and that was 1990 is like Sub Pop is like kind of in full bloom.
Oh, Sub Pop, that's right.
And it's pre Nevermind, and so that's where like the Melvins and of course Poison Idea was still really big. Right. And you had a lot of bands that were like really influenced by the Chili Peppers. There was this band from
but old Chili Peppers.
Yeah, there was this band from Portland called Sweaty Nipples. And they were huge. And it was Ron from Brotherhood that was like, okay, let me tell you about Oregon. These are the Brotherhood. These are the bands that are big. He was like, Poison Idea, Sweaty Nipples, this band Hitting Birth, and like something else. But yeah.
What about the Accused?
Where are they from?
The Accused were like kind of overish by then. I think they'd started Grunt Truck, or they were about to start Grunt Truck. But I loved the Accused. I was pen pals with one of those guys when I was younger.
Sick, dude.
They were so cool.
They're from up that way?
Yeah, from Seattle.
Yeah. So fast,
first wave of
Just
thrash,
like, fuck, man.
Yeah, super cool. And what's cool about that is Brotherhood's only U.S. tour is supporting the Accused.
Wow.
Straight edge band on tour with like a wasted thrash band.
That's incredible.
Wasted thrash band. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what does your Bachelor of Science mean for listeners? Like what was your goals? Like what did you?
I mean, at the time,
kind of
it was a Bachelor of Science in Sociology. You can get a BA or a BS. I can't remember why it was a BS, but that's really the most layman terms is a study of groups. I was really, and still am, but I was really interested in like the civil rights movement and social issues and things like that. And so I was like, all right, my parents really want me to go to college. Like, it's kind of like if I do college, they'll leave me alone, and I wanted to do something that I was interested, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I had no clue at all, so it's like, I'm not going to study law or medicine and I was like, business didn't, I was like, I just want to study things that I'm interested in, and that's what I was interested in. I was like really deeply into, a lot of philosophy and history of like what MLK had done and being young, I just read the autobiography of Malcolm X.
That was huge.
It was a really big deal, and I'm listening to Public Enemy.
Oh yeah.
And starting to like, oh yeah, like more so, it's like, this is the thing about punk is it informs you about this other opinion of life, and you're like, okay, don't trust the government. It's like that's like
Dead Kennedy's taught me so
it's
much,
like, don't, these sort of things. And it just gets deeper and deeper. MDC, that was a big one, and then comes Public Enemy. And it was like, it's like, holy fuck, television's terrible. It's like, like all this stuff, like it's all marketing and all this. They're just, I
learned so much from Public Enemy as well. And it was happening in different parts.
But also Soulside, the song Name in Mind is like, that was like a
Banger.
really big moment, that's like where it's like, what's the lyric?
Feel
like,
the hate you generate.
and it's like, you see money, I see slavery, I see families fight and hate. And he goes, you see food, I see murder,
I see blood on your plate.
And I was like,
banger.
So all these things are,
I just got goosebumps.
and
banger.
What was going on at the time in South Africa with apartheid and stuff like
Yes.
that. So I wanted to delve more into, group study and research and change, and so that's why I picked
Inspired by
sociology.
punk and hardcore to do that for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
That's, I find out about the autobiography of Malcolm X, and it's given me a copy by this guy, Dave, from this band Last Option.
Okay.
In Phoenix, Arizona. Maybe it was Tempe, Arizona. I get the two confused. They're like right next door to each other. Sorry, guys. It's like Fort Worth and Dallas. I'm like, they're two different things. But sorry, guys. But I went up to Arizona with No for an Answer. They played there with, it was No for an Answer, When to Change, Hard Stance, Last Option. And he had that book, and I was like, what's up with this? And and he was like, take it. In the spirit of like, I read it, you should read it.
For sure.
There's no reason I should keep the truth.
It's that type
I
of
should
book for
pass
sure.
on the truth.
Yeah.
And so,
Game changer.
yeah, big time.
And Public Enemy and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, a convergence of all these things and going deeper,
Mhm. So when you graduate from college, what is your job you get? Like, what do
Still just like, I don't know what to do.
Did you come back to California?
Yeah, so I played, like, I was really mad at Yuckmouth because we didn't go on those shows, and I was like, I was mad. And then I'd come back. We had put out a record on Conversion Records, and we played like kind of like a pre-release show with Big Drill Car in Orange County. It was amazing.
That's
it was
cool.
So cool. With Farside was on that show.
Nice.
Super cool. And I had a band in Eugene called Filler.
Nice.
And it was more like, I was really like digging into the Replacements at the time. And I loved like the name, the Replacements. Like, we're like the other guys. And I was like, I like that. We're like Filler. We're just a bunch of dudes. But then, there's the Minor Threat.
I
Yeah,
love the
of course.
Replacements though, man.
Yeah.
Love
So,
Replacements.
but I was like, I don't know, man. Bands are weird. Bands are tough. And I had like, bands suck. But I'd moved back, and my dad was also in the music industry. He worked for AMC Theaters for like 30 years.
Wow.
And I had like gotten this internship through Disney's Buena Vista, and there was like this, like, you get to basically go around the country for like 2 months and just like check up on all their like summer film promo.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
like
sounds
they
awesome.
picked
Sounds amazing.
10 people,
Okay.
and me and my friend that I went to school with, we got it. And like, we flew to Dallas, and then they give you a van and a camera. And I remember they're like, "This is a laptop." And you're like, "What the fuck?"
Wow.
And they're like, "This is email." At that point, it was like, this is 1993. Like,
Yeah.
email was like, no one had email yet.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, you're gonna email, like you're gonna take photos, and then you're gonna go to 1 hour photo, and then you're gonna mail it in FedEx at the end of the week with all this stuff, and then you're gonna write these emails and all this stuff. We were so bad at it, but we like we were out for the summer. And then I went to Europe after that.
Damn.
Alone. I went and just traveled to Europe for like a month on my
wow.
Really?
on my own. Yeah.
Nice.
Where was
like-
the
'cause
first
I-
place that you went?
Because I went straight from, I graduated, and then I went home for like a day, and I flew to Dallas, and then I did that thing, and I was
Right.
gone, and then I was like, got home, and I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. So then I went to Europe because I had some money from graduation.
Have you been there before? Or no. First time.
No.
and you went by yourself.
No, by myself.
And
Yeah.
how did you even map it
That's
out? or-
amazing. Good
Yeah,
question.
it was a really great, different. Obviously we're older. It's like there's no smartphone. There's no
Yeah.
anything. I kind of just, I got a Euro Rail pass and a Brit Rail pass, which means it's like kind of like for like a certain amount of time, like 30
Right.
days, you can just get on any train you want.
Mhm.
And I really just kind of like, okay, Sterling Wilson had moved to Germany at
Okay,
this
so you knew
point.
somebody
So
there.
he was in Oldenburg, Germany, and then I had a friend from school that was living in Bath, England,
Wow.
and I was supposed to meet another friend of mine in the south of France, but he got stuck in a train strike. So I just kind of made it up as I went along,
Okay.
Wow.
and a friend knew some people in Amsterdam, and it was just kind of like that kind of stuff. And I
Yeah.
made friends. I like friends that I'm still friends with till
That's awesome.
today. And I have a really funny story about that. But yeah, then I like got back from there, and I was like, I got an internship at A&M Records in their video department. And that was in between. I was actually in between the Disney thing and the
Yeah.
Buena Vista thing and the Europe trip. And so when I came back, they were like, "You can come back and do it." And then I got a job at A&M
Wow.
in the art department, and I hated it. But I had like, my dad had given me a bunch of contacts in the film industry, so I like had interviewed and stuff, and I ended up getting a job at New Line.
New Line Cinemas?
Yeah,
New Line,
and then
yeah.
from there I got a job at Warner Brothers,
Wow.
Wow.
and like I was kind of on this path to work in the film industry,
Right.
but I had started. We had started Bluebird by then,
Yeah.
and that, and then
What's
that
Bluebird?
This
Bluebird
band-
was on this band I did. Our first record was on Revelation.
Yep.
Okay.
Revelation 61.
Yeah, those are 95
Yeah,
Bluebird.
like
Sorry, yeah, because you were
61.
exactly Warner Brothers supervisor. You did orders, distribution, promotional stuff, right, at Warner Brothers.
Yeah. And then
And Bluebird's 95.
we started playing shows and traveling a little bit, and we got this offer from L7 When our record came out on Rev, they're like, we want to take you on tour. They'd come to our shows and we'd become friends with them.
That's cool.
We went on that tour
Nice.
and, it was a 6-week tour.
Was it a big tour for
Damn.
L7 at that moment? What album?
It was The Beauty Process. It was
Okay,
the
yeah,
third album
It's a good record, yeah.
on Warner Brothers. And then, we had come back from that and we were playing shows and stuff. And then we got offered a Foo Fighters tour.
What?
What?
And yeah. And so I remember just being like, I called my dad and I was like, Dad, like, I can't do both, and he was like, well, if you're going to do it, this is the time to do it. You're young.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I thought he would tell me no.
Right.
He was like, you got to do it. He's like, if you don't do it, you're just going to think about the fact that you never did it.
Absolutely.
Right,
And
yeah.
you should probably do it. And I was like, okay. And Warner Bros., they were cool. I remember when I went out the 6 weeks, they were like, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to let you do that. And we're going to give you, you can take 3 weeks of your vacation.
It's great,
Cool.
man.
So I got paid for that.
Sick.
And they worked it out for me. And even with the Foo Fighters, they're like, well, we can work this out for you. And I'm like, listen, it doesn't stop here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do.
Just get
Right,
going,
right.
dude.
I don't
Yeah.
want to be here.
Right.
You people are great. Thank you for everything. But
Was that Foo Fighters' first record or?
No, it was Color and the Shape.
Banger.
Damn.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. It's funny when I got done with that tour. We did that tour and then we did our own tour like pretty quick after it.
Yeah.
That Amanda Mackay booked a bunch of those
Awesome.
shows.
Shout
And
out
it was
to
like
Amanda.
another 6 weeks or whatever. And
Oh my God.
came home and just, you're like, oh, I don't have any money.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit.
But those shows are pretty big.
How big?
Oh no,
Foo
yeah,
Fighters.
but
How was the
yeah,
response for you
but
guys on there?
not enough. Like you're trailing a bus, dude, and you're kind of forced.
Sure,
like
it's
you're
a
these
bus
DIY
ride
kids, and
tour.
you're like, there's no DIY kids at this show. Like, where am I going to
Right.
stay? I had to stay in hotels and stuff.
Were they huge shows?
Yeah, they were really big.
You guys had good response?
Yeah. I learned I learned something really quick on that. I was like, all I got to do is like jump, and these people like think it's the coolest thing they've ever seen. I remember I'd like stage a jump, like I'm going to jump now, and then I just kind of like wait for the reaction. I'm like, oh, they love this shit. But at the same time, they were like, they weren't buying our records or
Right.
anything. We were the
How
opener.
long were the set? How long was your set?
I think it was like 30 minutes.
Okay, nice.
Who else was on that tour besides Foo Fighters?
It was just us.
Oh, that's
we
fucking
did that,
sick.
and then
And support.
It's
yeah, it was just like two bands, and it was like a kind of a B market thing, and then Rock from the Crypt did the other half of that tour, but yeah, I was like, I was like, remember I was like, man, I don't have any money. This is fucked up, and I like,
Right.
you kind of like talking to your dad, you're kind of like hinting like, I don't have any money, just to see if they'll like give you any,
right.
And my dad's like, remember, I'll never forget. He's like, well, I mean, that's like the artist thing, right? And I was like, he's like, the starving artist thing. And I was like, I remember being like, yeah, starving artist thing. He's like, yeah, you're an artist. And I was like,
Was-
and I remember I was like, code. This is code for like, I'm not gonna give you any money.
Right.
Mm.
And I was like, yeah, I'm an artist.
Dude, was Jason in this band with Swizz?
Figure it out. No, he was in a band called Blue Tip,
Blue Tip.
which is a funny story between Bluebird and Blue Tip because
Is there beef?
Oh hell no.
I'm just,
So
I'm just kidding.
So Chris Bratton, who was in Chance Strength and
Yep.
Inside Out and a lot of bands, I get a call from him. This is before I was in Bluebird, and he was like, "Hey, there's these guys, these two brothers, the Brown brothers. They're from Arizona, and they have this band with Dave 8 of Swizz." I'm like, Dave 8 of Swizz lives in L.A. I'm a huge Swizz fan,
Okay.
Me too.
big
He
fan.
just did the book thing the other day where he does like the Q&A and the
Yeah,
conversation.
moderated
Wow.
the thing. And so I'm like, whoa. And he's like, yeah, Dave's playing guitar and they are looking for a singer. And I was like, okay, I don't know. Bands are lame. Like I like seeing bands, but bands are kind of lame.
Right.
And he was like, I don't know. And I told him that you can actually sing.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh yeah, fuck it. I'll go down there. So I would go down and we quote unquote jam. They play me some stuff. And then I remember I'm like, play that again. And I just start improvising.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. It was like, oh, this is cool. And remember they're like, we have a show like in a week, we're just playing instrumental. You should come check it out. So I did, and it was cool. And then they just broke up. Like, sorry, like we really liked you, and we were like wanting to get to that show, and then potentially try to work some stuff, see if it could work out. was like, no big deal, And they knew, like I moved to LA, I didn't really know anyone.
Mhm.
Like knew my buddy Pat Delaney who lived here. I knew the guys in Scream. They were in LA now, and they were playing in Wool.
Yeah, I remember Wool. Love Scream, by the way.
Yeah, same. And Wool. And I knew Zach De La Rocha. He was living here now because of Rage. And I knew Chris Bratton, and he was playing in Wool. So that was kind of like it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
But they were like, like we'll stay in touch if we end up doing something else. And so, time goes by, and Brian, the drummer, is like, hey, I want to start a band, and I want to start it with you. And I was like, okay. He's like, my brother, he's a wild man, but he's a great bass player. So we start playing, and through Chris Bratton again, he's like, hey, our roadie, Barry Thomas, is here in LA kind of indefinitely,
Yeah.
and he plays guitar. I think maybe you guys should jam with him. So we had been auditioning and jamming with guitar players for over a year.
Yeah.
We played with Zach. We shared a rehearsal space with Zach.
Wow.
I remember
During Rage? Yeah.
Yeah, Zach came in, we'd always like cross over. And we ended up playing Sunstroke by Swizz with him on guitar.
Wow. That's sick.
It was killer. And it was awesome. And so we played with Barry, and Barry had a unique kind of style. He wasn't like a riffy guy. He kind of painted around the rhythm section, kind of in a way that Soulside did.
Yeah.
And Fugazi in a way. So we started to make music, and I remember we sat down to talk about the name. Like, let's pick a name. And I was like, Blackbird. I'm a huge Black Crowes fan. Someone once said that, like, oh yeah, Black Crowes is already taken, so Velde just called it Blackbird.
And I was Black Crowes?
What? I love the Black Crowes.
Me too.
I'm a huge fan.
Dude, She Talks to Angels, banger. Oh
Just
my God.
massive
Great
fan.
band. Great band. That's cool. We like that, man.
Yeah. And that's another gateway into like 70s rock for me. But anyways, so it ends up we're like, oh, Blackbird, okay, that's gonna be it. And then we learned that the guys from the Dills, the very early LA punk band, after they broke up, they started this band called Blackbird. So I can't take Blackbird. And I remember I was like, all right, well, how about Bluebird? And everybody's like, oh, dude, I used to go to elementary school on a Bluebird bus. That kind of stuff. And I was like, it's cool. It's like feels organic, and
Yeah.
I don't know, it's cool. Whatever, And so we picked that name, and we start playing. I get a call from Dave 8, and they broke up, and David was like, I'm moving back to DC.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a band with Jason Farrell again. I was like, cool. That's awesome. He had called me this after that and prior to all this Bluebird stuff. And he was like, hey, do you know any bass players? And I was like, it's funny you should say that, because a really good friend of mine from Orange County, from Newport Beach, is going to school at George Washington. He's the nicest guy ever, and he can play anything. And him and I actually saw Swizz together at Gilman Street.
That's awesome.
And he's like, oh, cool. I'm like, here's his number. Time goes by, and I get this call from Dave. He's like, dude, just calling to let you know, I'm hanging out with Jake. We have a band. We have songs. We're going to record. We're called Blue Tip. And I was like, well, that's funny, Dave, because I'm in a band with Brian and Jim, formerly of your old band. And we have songs, and we're going to record. And our name's Bluebird. Yeah. And we were both really, we were close friends with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
So Bluebird puts out a bunch of records, too, EPs, records, all that, right? You guys are going for a couple of years. 95
Yeah. We were a band for about 8 years.
Yeah,
Damn.
8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It started.
1, 2, 3. A lot of releases, too.
Wow.
Yeah, we started on Revelation, and would have been on Revelation, but my ego was wild. And
what do you mean?
So we put out an EP on Revelation. I remember, and I was talking to you, mentioned this, Derek, about Face.
Yeah, Bluebird, self-titled 1996.
I was like, when we showed up, I'm like, Derek Green, Outface. I was like, we're Revelation Records alumni. Crisis Records. You were on Crisis, which was a subsidiary Revelation that put out Farside and Outface and a bunch of other stuff. And they had wanted, Revelation was like, oh, this is, Bluebird's weird, but it's, Jordan was like, I'm into it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it would fit on Crisis. This is so funny. Our bass player is he was a wild man. As he said, he was like, that's a weird name for a band, for a label. That Crisis,
Right.
like that's like a self-prophesizing situation.
Fuck.
It's like calling your band Failure.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I don't know. I can get that. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
But really it was more like, why don't we just be on Revelation?
Mm.
So it was like, I think this is really funny. I was like, kind of like, yeah, cool. We want to do this, but yeah, we're just being Revelation. Like not really giving Jordan an opportunity, like to like, no, we're just going to put this out Revelation. He's like, okay. So we put out Revelation. It's funny because right before that, Tim Owen, you spoke of Tim Owen. He called me and he was like, hey, like I really love the 7-inch that you guys had put out yourselves. Would you want to be on Jade Tree? And at that time, Jade Tree really hadn't done a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They'd put out Jones Very, which I really was into. That's Vic Bondi's band after Articles of Faith and stuff, pre-Alloy. And the Swizz discography.
That's right.
But they hadn't and they were just putting out, just about to put out Promise Ring. So they're about to really step into their stride.
Next level.
But I remember I was like, I can't really commit to that because like we're just about to put out this record on Rev and I kind of need to see how it goes with Rev.
Mm-hmm.
So we do the record on Rev and then, Jordan's like, let's do another record. And this is your budget. At the time, I was like, that's a crazy budget. That's cool.
Yeah.
Today, you'd be like, that's like 2 cups of coffee. And maybe my Uber,
Yeah.
And so we start to set this whole thing up and we meet these guys that want to make the record. And we actually just started making the record. And these guys had access to Sound City, that studio.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And this guy, Greg Fiddleman, and this guy, Billy Joe Bowers. And Billy Joe Bowers had worked with Brendan O'Brien, who had done Stone Temple Pilots. He'd done the Black Crows.
Damn.
He'd done a lot of cool stuff. And Greg Fiddleman would go on to do Metallica and stuff like that. So they were like, hey, in our off time, we're not working on other projects. We're going to record you guys. And I was like, well, this is the budget. And they're like, we'll make it work. So we started making this record. And I remember I was on tour with my girlfriend's band. They're called the Red Ants. They're an Epitaph.
Okay.
Amazing LA, all female punk rock band. Fucking cool. I was on tour with them and I get this call from Brian. He's like, hey, like I got this, like Jordan's trying to get a hold of you or whatever, but like basically like he can't come up with that actually amount. He said like he was talking to his accountant and all this stuff and it's like, it's not gonna be that much. And I'm like, well, we already committed to that and we're making the record.
Yeah.
And he was like,
Come on, Jordan.
Like,
Damn, Jordan.
I was like, I was
man.
just like, fuck it. Fuck Jordan.
Yeah.
Fuck Rev.
Okay. Wow.
Like, we're not going to do it. Where, like, out of a little more experience, I wouldn't have been that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't say it to Jordan's face. I love Jordan.
Yeah.
Like, big time. Like, actually, mad, real love for Jordan Cooper. But, if that was...
moment, yeah.
I would have been like, hey, Jordan, what's going on, dude? Like, this is where we're at. Yada, yada, yada. And I might have been like, all right, fuck it. Then we'll just come up with the rest ourselves.
Right.
So we ended up making this record with no
label.
And actually somebody helped us with that record. Dave Grohl helped us pay for that record.
Wow.
Dave Grohl is like a great fucking dude. He was
That's
like, what's
amazing.
happening? I want to see this come through. I can lend you the money. And we ended up buying the Foo Fighters, man. The same thing. He was like, you take it, and
Bought the Foo Fighters van?
yeah, they only used it once. They bought 2 vans, used them once, one tour. Like kind of that thing like, yeah,
Right.
man, getting back to our roots, dude. Like first record, it's like, within like a year, like, the next tour you're on a bus.
Right.
Oh yeah, like I forgot van tours suck.
Yeah.
But like
That's amazing. You funded the record.
That's
Wow.
he helped us, that not many people know that. And, I don't think that's surprising at this point because
No,
he's actually a person that really cares about music and
Yeah.
independent music and helping people further that. It has deep, deep roots
Absolutely.
in punk and hardcore.
You saw Scream with them back in the day?
Yes, I
Me too,
did.
me
Takes a
too.
lot of flack for being
Yeah.
the guy that's on every interview and all that kind of stuff. But it's like,
He's-
that's cool.
he's-
At least there's somebody that
He's a legend.
comes from that
Legend.
that can like
and he's
shed light on that to all the normies
he's
in the
incredible.
world.
Man. He's an incredible musician. And
Yeah.
producer
So-
and everything.
But we made that record and we sat in limbo. We actually signed a deal with this label that was going to put out us and Ink and Dagger. They were called New American Dream. And then that went belly up because I won't get into it, but the guy, another person in the band was in a car with them, and the guy got in a crash, and he sued the dude that was going to do the label. So eventually we put out the next record on a small label that this band Silkworm had been on that we really loved in Seattle called Pacifico, and then really ended up on Dim Mak.
What is that?
Dim Mak was Steve Aoki's label.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Steve Aoki was a person that was like at every show, Bluebird show day one.
Hardcore kid, too.
He's a hardcore kid.
And
And
G beats
every
that, too.
show.
yeah, he was
Facts.
putting out, a lot of like kind of post-hardcore stuff and hardcore stuff, his own bands and stuff like that. And,
That's cool.
we put out a record we did an improv record in our studio. We put out two records in EP in 2 years.
Yes.
And one of them was just like this improv record that we got a hold of this like 1-inch tape machine. Didn't know what the hell we were doing. And like we'd go in there and like jam and improvise, and people would come in and play on it. So I played drums on a little bit of it, and like
Oh, wow.
I don't even know how to play drums. And
Is that the Hot Blood record?
Hot Blood was on Dim Mak, yeah.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. And Wayne Kramer from the MC5 played on that record, which was a big deal for me.
That's amazing.
Really big
Holy
MC5 fan, and Wayne Kramer fan.
And there was Black Presence, the last record in 2003.
So Black Presence and Hot Blood came out the same year.
Oh, that's right. You're right. It did.
Yeah.
You're right.
And then we put out like an EP after that came out also in Dim Mak. And
Falling Back to Earth.
yeah. And Kato Man in Japan put that record out.
Oh, that's cool.
Everybody knows Kato Man now at B Cafe. It's like the thing when you go to Tokyo and you're like, go see Kato Man at B Cafe. But he had put that record out, and Hot Blood in Japan, which is really cool.
Then you had Cold Sweat Records, your own label.
Yeah, my friend Laurel Stearns and I had a short-lived label called Cold Sweat. We put out the first ever Battles recording, which was John Stanier from Helmet. After
sure.
Helmet.
His new band after him. Wow.
Yeah, and Ian Williams, who was in Don
Shout out to
Caballero.
John.
I was
Don Caballero.
really into those bands, and
Me
John and I
too.
were good
Damn.
friends. And
So funny. I was just thinking about that band. I was like,
Which
Yeah.
band?
Don Caballero. They were
those first two, man.
So this is after Helmet? It was like a side.
So Don Cab and Helmet are kind of parallel at the
Yeah.
same time.
Okay.
Don Cab is on Touch and Go. The first record, it kind of has a Helmet vibe to it.
totally.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw them together actually.
Yeah. It's so
Damn.
it's instrumental. This guy Damon Shea was a drummer, amazing, incredible.
So
dude.
Okay.
sick.
And then the second record, Don Cab 2, is more like they kind of go into this like free form. It's not jazz, but it's like
it was weird.
it's a lot more looser, and it's really cool.
I love
John leaves Helmet.
Yeah.
And Ian leaves Don Cab. They go on to make more records, and then they start Battles together. And so I put out a 12-inch single for them, and they actually did an EP on Dim Mak 2.
Okay.
And they did an EP with Kato Man, One Line Circle, and then they signed a Warp, and the rest is
History.
instrumental rock history.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. With sparse vocals.
So how are you making a living during that time? You doing music? Were you making money off music in Bluebird during that time?
No, like I had, it's
Different
funny.
hustles?
The hustles, man.
Mhm.
I had somehow fallen into it started like PA work, and then it was like I had a friend that was a wardrobe stylist, and she's like, I need an assistant. I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, I need you to go take all these clothes back.
Oh, dude.
And it's at that for her it was like, and it's $300 cash. And I was like,
Okay.
300 cash in the 90s, you're like, what? And I was like,
Yeah,
how many
dude.
days do you need me? She's like, I need you for 4 days. You're like, all I gotta do is pick up stuff and drop it off. She's like, that's it. And so then I started doing that like more and more, and that became like my big side hustle. And the great thing about that is that you're like 1099 or whatever,
Yeah.
or W2. I forget, but you can claim it unemployment
Wow.
because these companies, these production companies will pay out the unemployment. So I was like, oh, I can take these jobs. I can work a week and make a ton of money, because eventually it became $400 a day.
Yeah. In cash.
And I was like, I can work 5 days. I could work a total of 12 days in a month. And then the days that I'm not working, I can claim unemployment. And then you go on towards Bluebird, where we're just getting cash paid,
yeah.
for the most part. Not that we ever really made any money,
Right.
Yeah.
but you get like a little bit of scratch here and there. And so
Sure.
my hustle was it was dope.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then, you're touring. So like the money you made is just sitting there.
Yeah.
And this
awesome.
is back in the day when you were paying $500 to rent a room.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
or whatever.
yeah.
Like you had a roommate and stuff. So I was like, I was doing that. And then, Bluebird breaks up or whatever. And then that's when I'm like, I'm not really into like schlepping clothes and like, having people try on clothes and like directors like and people like telling me like have their change their shoes and stuff. Like I was like, this isn't what like the hill I'm gonna try to die on here.
Up for that shit, yeah.
And I had a friend, this guy John Katosich that I had grown up with in Orange County. He was the music person at this
Ripe TV.
Well, he was at Fuel TV.
Okay, Fuel, yeah.
And so Fuel TV, he was like, he kind of turned me on to this thing like, oh, there's this thing called music supervision.
Yep.
And you pick out music for films and
Video
stuff.
on demand. Yeah.
Ripe was a thing that I worked for too.
Okay.
It was like a startup thing. But so he was like, I've always just been a psycho music person. Yeah. So he was like, I think you'd be really good. And he basically put this project in my lap. And it was Mike Vallely's had put out this DVD called Drive.
Yeah.
Where he just gets into
that was cool.
A GMC or a Jeep, you know, one of those old Jeeps, and drives around to like these sort of like forgotten skate spots and like skates them and gives kids
really cool
stuff. And he was like, you know, the director was like, hey, like, would you want to do this? And Bluebird had gotten into putting some music on soundtrack stuff.
That's cool.
And so I started doing, and so that became a show on Fuel TV for a few seasons. And so I was basically
like musical director.
I was the music supervisor for that stuff. Yeah. And then, you know, that was like, oh, I like what you did on that. What do you want to do with this surf film? And then I was like, and I put it to work on a surf film and all this stuff.
That's
and then,
cool.
And then I got in the skate industry where I really wanted to be, you know, like, you know, Buddy Nichols is like, hey, it's so crazy. I was watching Rick and Buddy did these amazing documentaries or whatever, skate documentaries. One is, you know, about the anti-hero team when they go to Australia and New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called Fruit of the Vine. And they had done a bunch of other ones. And they did one on like Dreamline, like a Grindline skate parks and stuff. I think it was called Pacific Northwest, if I remember. I remember being like, man, I want to work on this stuff.
Yeah.
And within like a week, I get this email like, hey, this is Buddy Nichols. My friend Rick and I made these films. And we're working on a new one, and we like what you did on this thing. And I was like, we get on the phone. I'm like, I literally was just telling myself,
crazy,
watching you. I have all your stuff on DVD that I want to work with you guys.
It's amazing.
And so, yeah, I worked on this thing called Death Bullet Downtown, which was like a documentary on the sort of like birth of street skating in New York City.
Cool. That's cool.
And it goes back into, you know, it starts with Transition Vert and Cedar Crest is part of it.
Cedar Crest, yes.
And, you know, it's funny, get back to, I licensed a Minor Threat song for that. And Ian, that's where Ian yelled at me. Really? I remember it being like, today is the day Ian MacKay just yelled at me.
Wow.
Why would it happen? He's particular.
I mean,
they're particular about licensing.
No, I'll be very, and he was right. You know, so you get you have a budget you have to work with, and you clear songs and stuff, and they're trying to tell us story, and sort of that story is music is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so Cedar Crest is a time of Minor Threat and Scream and these.
It's in Virginia. It's a huge metal, gigantic vert ramp.
Yeah,
that was so sick.
Yeah, you know, and then you get into New York City and street skating and hip hop. You know, so it's like they really want this LL Cool J song, and so you go try to license the LL Cool J song, and you're basically just dealing with publishers that own that control the copyright, and they're just gonna quote you like something insane,
crazy,
because they got to make back all the money they advanced to LL Cool J.
Right, which is, I'm sure,
probably
crazy,
they're like, here's a bunch of money, now you're gonna recoup it,
yeah,
and we'll control this until you do.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is what they want, and you know, Buddy Rick's like, we got to get that song. You know, I remember talking to John Seidel, manager of the Foo Fighters and Beastie Boys, and he was just like, oh, we recouped that stuff a long time. I'll give you this for like nothing, basically.
Damn.
John being just like, I'm a skater.
That's awesome.
Like, let's roll. Awesome guy. And so Minor Threat is on that list, you know.
Oh,
so
shit.
as well as Bad Brains.
Right.
So at that time, talking to Anthony, who worked with the Bad Brains.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Anthony. Right.
And you know, you're like, hey, we don't have much of a budget. This is what we got. You know, I'm being very transparent about the money that we have. And he's like, I'll quote you this. I remember calling Ian, and I was like, hey, same thing. This is what we want. And I'm like, LL Cool J is just gonna rake us over the coals.
The whole
this
budget,
one.
yeah.
You know, I remember him being like, man, that's so fucking whack. You know,
Yeah.
basically everybody else kind of suffers because of this crap. And I was like, totally agree. He's like, tell you what, Sam, I'm happy to play ball with you and work with what you guys.
Had you met Ian before that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When Bluebird, we played with Fugazi.
Okay.
You know, like I'd met him then.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted us to play with him, and
Okay,
we
awesome.
had started a friendship. You know,
That's cool.
and he's like, I'll work with the budget and stuff and everything. And I was like, all right, cool. You know, and I go relay that to the guys. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus here.
Yeah.
But, you know, we come down to the end here and I'm like, all right, we got this and we got some money here. Like, you know, what should we give Ian? They're like, well, see if we can give Ian $1,500. And I'd be like, I don't know if we can give him $1,500. But we were kind of at the end here, you know, and it was
Elo
like,
took all the money. Yeah.
yeah, and we were kind of at the end here. And I call Ian and I was like, hey, you know, it's been a couple months, but I'm following up on this. And, you know, we're kind of going through the budget and this is, and he was like, who do you got on it? And I was like, we got, you know, this and this, the Bad Brains. Oh yeah, Bad Brains? I'm like, yeah. He's like, what are you paying the Bad Brains? I was like, $3,000. And he was like, and you want to pay me much? How much?
I love him, dude.
And I was like, 1,500? And I'm just the messenger, you know, but I'm like,
Yeah.
1,500? And he's like, no, that's fucked up. You know, like he's like, in relative terms, that's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so, you know, he explains that to me in a very direct, semi-aggressive way. And I remember just being like, I'm just getting yelled at by Ian guys.
Get sunned by Ian. Yeah.
Would have never, but he's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm stuck in this position of like kind of doing what I'm told. But I think it was a good lesson for all of us. And I went back to the guys. I was like, I just got yelled at, but that's my job. I'm here to get yelled at. But this isn't going to fly. And even if we're over budget, we gotta come
Pump
correct.
it up. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, the guys were like 1,000,000%. Thank you for, you know, taking the beating.
Right.
But yeah, that's
By one of your heroes. Yeah.
but like we're gonna do right by him. And you know, that's just part of what you're. And I think for at the time it was like, well, he said he would work with us, and that is what we have.
Right.
You know, but just not really looking at the bigger picture of like, in relative terms, he's not going to ask you for the LL Cool J amount, but in relative punk terms, it should get equal amount of like these other punk bands. That,
Absolutely.
You know,
For sure,
and that's
yeah.
just fairness. And so,
Are they the only two punk bands on there?
I forget who else was on it. The Scream was on it.
Oh yeah. How much Scream get?
Yeah, but yeah, I can't totally remember. But I had licensed. I had worked with Ian before on the Vallely show, and we had licensed Fugazi, which is really rare.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
Really, really rare. And so he was really gracious about that. I mean, Ian's a fucking awesome dude.
The best, dude.
You know.
Do you remember when that Nike campaign came out for Nike SB Major Threat or something?
I remember. I know the guy that did it.
And he could have got all this money from Nike. Just said no, just don't do it.
He's just like, please stop doing that.
He could have been. He could have went like, yo, fuck, you know. What I mean?
Well, and, you know, I know the guy that was behind that. And,
How does something
and
like
he
that
talked to
slip
me,
through
and he
the
was
cracks?
like, he was just like, you know, and I know he was like, hey, you're a good dude, I get it, but like that ain't it.
Yeah.
You know, that ain't it.
How does something like that go through Nike, a campaign, like just using the imagery of it? It's crazy how that works without nobody getting okayed. It was like a huge Nike thing with Major Threat. And I think
I'll tell you, part of it is like, yeah, I think it's young people like myself too. In that moment, I'm still learning my way through it too.
True.
And so you don't really understand like licensing, and you don't really even though I was a music supervisor, I didn't go to music supervising school.
True.
I was just learning it as I went along, you know. And so different time of understanding intellectual property.
Yeah.
You know, and then then you start to understand intellectual property, and you know, it is sacred, and you know, sometimes you do work with what people have if it's an important project, you know, but it needs to be within reason.
Yeah, I think the Nike thing wasn't music; it was like the font.
It was a picture of Ian MacKaye.
Oh wow!
It's the picture of Alec MacKaye with his hand on the steps.
Yeah,
I think it was like that. It was set out of step Nike SB right when they launched SB.
Bruh.
And you know, it was just like a fail. It was like I know the person that did it, he's a good dude, and he's like, you know, but people are like, how could you? And it's like he probably was like, this is cool, but then it's like, no, you kind of ran with an idea a little too fast there.
Yeah,
and then Nike just probably not really even knowing the corpo world behind it. It was a weird first thing.
Using the most
obviously didn't affect their success, but
usually
you know,
the most non-corporate person on the picture.
Yeah, you know, and again, you know, it's that's intellectual property, man.
Absolutely.
And that has to be protected.
Yeah.
You know, like
It's scary nowadays. There's like, I guess on like Instagram or Facebook, you kind of give up that right. I don't know.
Well,
Really?
I think now in a lot of ways it's a lot more lax because, you know, I think you watch, you know, you see like a lot of bands will reappropriate like other logos and stuff now.
Right.
You know, like they'll like there's not a parody, but they'll like use that other logo. It's like, you know, and it's like they're running a really small amount of shirts. I think people are in that case are just kind of like, whatever, you know. But I think if you're getting into like a big corporation like Nike, using that stuff, they've got so much money,
right?
And then it's like you're not coming correct. But then again, it's also like, you know, obviously in the terms of minor threat, they don't want to be associated with that.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah,
you know, so
damn. Yeah,
but you know, these are all the pitfalls and the learning curves of like how to do it and not do it. You know, I know that, like, again, I know the person that was involved with that. He certainly never did that again.
Right.
You know, and I know he's friends with Ian. You know, but yeah,
it's super interesting because I mean, I was just, you know, seeing that somebody was complaining about the fact that a friend of theirs took a photo of an ad by Skechers, and this guy was like, "That's my face. That's my photo." You know, of me like sitting on the curb, and they totally like changed my shoe wear, and it's the exact photo.
Yeah, that's some crazy shit.
And I was like, wow.
And that's like, again, you're really messing with a person's intellectual property. You can't do that. You're stealing.
Somebody used a photo image of you.
You're stealing.
No, not to me.
You're actually
being
stealing
immediately.
Yeah, you're stealing someone's photo. That's fucked up.
But that's the thing about Ian that's so cool. He's like, you could get sued. You could get cease and desist. But he's like, nah, just no.
Yeah, because he
no.
knew. I think that conversation between him and Homeboy were like, he was just like, I get it, dude. You're just, today wasn't your smartest day.
Yeah,
right.
And it's really lame, but let's move forward.
Yeah.
And even, you know, that conversation with Adam, he was like, hey, you know, I feel offended by that offer, but but he was also like, I get it, but no.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I was like, yeah, I get it, and you're right. You know, that's you know. And then my job as a music supervisor, it was a very eye-opening thing. Like, I need to go back to the bosses and be like, hey, we need to make this person happy, and as we should, and you know, they called up Ian like, hey, that was stupid of us. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, let's move on. We're all friends.
But I love how honest and direct he is as a person in general. Just by really just so blunt about.
Yeah, and
things.
you know, that's a good learning moment too.
Yeah.
It was learning moment as it's part of why I stopped being a music supervisor, because I was like asked to do things that I was like, I don't really want to do this. I don't feel comfortable with this. I'm like too close to all this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you were like having to sort of explain how. I remember I was working on this project, and he's like, I'm thinking AC/DC for this. And I was like, okay, you're a director. You've made films. You've worked on commercials. And I have to tell you now, A, you can't afford that.
Right.
Like, your budget's too small. And like, it isn't like, yeah, well, maybe talk to so-and-so. And maybe like, I know my brother's friend. You know, that kind of shit. It's like, no. This is the business of AC/DC. Secondly, I was like, I'm like, I don't know if it's obvious you've never noticed this. There's not one AC/DC song in anything but the Stephen King movie. They don't use their songs in commercials and films.
Wow.
And eventually, at that point, I'm like, they're not even on streaming services. This is like, they weren't even on iTunes.
Well, back then. I heard Guns N' Roses, another band like that, doesn't get any music up either. It takes a lot to get Guns N' Roses.
But, you know, that all changed.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, and I'm just like, you know, that thing with music supervising, like, you're managing expectations.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of telling this guy, like, his dream is like, you're just shattering this person's dream. And I'm like, this fucking sucks. And just like having to like have these conversations over and over. And a lot of them are like, you're the face of reality. And so like, you're just telling this person like, no, when you're like working for them. That's a weird.
For sure.
And you know, that's part of your job. And it should be okay. But I would just be like, job in, job out. I'm like, no, no, like no, maybe they'll be down for the, you know, $20,000. Yeah, for like a Guns N' Roses song. I'm like, in what
university?
Yeah, like
crazy.
Like, dude, maybe in 2075.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know, like, but not today.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So I was just like the music supervising thing.
You did like Havoc TV, the Night Horse.
Yeah, but that was a thing. I was like transitioning out of Bluebird, and I met someone, and we ended up getting married, and I was like,
oh wow, I know you married.
Yeah, I was, and I was like, okay, like this is I've been on tour so much, and I felt like my relationship was so strained that I needed to like invest time in my relationship with this person.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that's why I was like, okay, I need to find something I like to do that's in music. And that was the music supervising thing. And then that was also like putting out some music, you know, with Laurel on our label, you know? Mm-hmm. And then I got pretty burnt on music supervising and also kind of like just juggling two major things, like trying to put out some records and
but you did some cool stuff like with Thrasher, right, and Dick House and Roger Gassman and MTV Films. All that stuff.
No, I worked on
some freelancing stuff.
I worked on some great stuff. I worked on with Dick House. I worked on the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
Oh fuck, I love that one.
Yeah, we did. I did that one.
Holy shit,
that was wild.
So you were out there filming with them?
No, but I met a bunch of them when they came out for the first screening.
Soft White Underbelly family that kind of put them on the map in a sense, I guess.
Yeah, it's a crazy story about this family. They're Appalachian outlaws, really. You know, right. And kind of known for like this, like there's a pre-documentary on the father. He's like a dancer. He's like has this Appalachian dancing, like he taps almost and stuff. And then they, you know, they went in. Dick House kind of learned that there was more to the story, you know, like, and they're just kind of, Appalachian outlaws. And it's a wild family. They're a family. And
the same family, one of them can't kind of talk, right? It's like, it's the same kind of, we're talking about the same thing, right?
Well, they're like, it's in West Virginia.
We have to use we have to use the words right because you want to be disrespectful. Yeah, it's just,
they like just live by their own rules and you know, sort of, in West Virginia is one of the poorest areas in America.
It
you
is.
know, and it's kind of like a forgotten area, and they, you know, their whole family line is just kind of like they make their own rules.
I understand.
You understand. Okay.
I've been to West Virginia.
But if you ever want to see it, you know, it was Spike Jonze involved.
Yeah. Wow, okay, yeah.
And Johnny Knoxville, producer, those two.
Okay.
We're back.
No, we're back.
Yeah, we were talking about the Wild Whites of West Virginia, and you getting the clearance for G.G. Allen, and that was with Johnny Knoxville, and that was with Dick House, and that was like something you worked on with them, which is a legendary documentary. And
I'm sure I remember seeing it vaguely, but it was so long ago.
It's a wild outlaw family that you should.
You know, I first heard about them on Soft White Underbelly. I think he's the guy first time we did it.
Right.
Yeah, Spike Jonze and Johnny Knoxville involved, and so like I do the music supervising stuff, and like I was saying, I started to really just
burn out,
you know, based on the, you know, the managing of expectations.
And you had another band too, Obliterations, at that time. Correct?
Yeah, I haven't done Obliterations yet.
Okay.
You know, what happens is I end up breaking up with my wife.
Okay. Divorce.
And a lot of stuff happens at that time too.
How long were you married for?
We were married for 3 years.
Okay.
3-4 years. So a couple months before our marriage, my stepmom dies.
Okay.
You know, that's the only other mother, you know.
Yeah.
Very early on, I mentioned my parents, you know, divorcing and all this stuff, and my dad marries my stepmom Kathy. She was a big part of my life.
Oh wow.
You know,
okay.
My dad and stepmom were sober.
Okay.
They got sober. They were
Nice.
alcoholics like myself. Very much in the program, and I really connected with, you know, a really important person. And she died really fast. It was like, I remember like, it's really cool. We'd go to my dad's house on Sundays, and he'd make an Italian dinner, and we'd watch The Sopranos.
Amazing.
Nice.
Every Sunday. It's the
Amazing.
best shit ever.
Love that shit.
Every season. And I remember she was just acting kind of weird. I remember she dropped this plate and stuff. And I was like, oh, Kathy's acting strange. And we went out to dinner a couple weeks later, and same thing. She was just like talking about weird. She wasn't connected to.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being like, Dad, what's up with Kathy? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I fear maybe she had a stroke or something. So he takes her to the hospital, find out she has brain cancer.
Oh.
She had previously had some cancer in her lungs. She's a smoker. And, you know, they go in, they do the stuff, and they're like, you're good. But she wasn't. And that cancer floated up to her brain. So within 2 weeks, she was dead.
Fuck.
2
Sorry,
weeks.
Man.
A couple weeks, man. Yeah, I was sitting there right when she died.
Sorry to hear
Sorry,
that.
man.
It's really wild to sit with someone when they pass. It's really fucking crazy. So that happens. You know, that happens in July. We get married in like September or something like that. Under all that duress, we're gonna put off the wedding. So my dad's like, "No, I think you gotta do this." So in 2005, my wife's dad comes down to visit us. Well, I remember this, but it was during the Black Crowes had just gotten back together. They were doing 5 nights at the Fonda, 3-hour sets.
Ooh, small venue. Wow.
Yeah.
And I'd gone to like the first 3. I didn't see the 4th, and then my wife and I were going to go see the 5th. She liked them too. But he'd come to visit us, and he had some cancer stuff, and he was going back in for his year checkup. You know, they basically do the stuff.
Yep.
Okay, you're good to go. Come back. I remember I got off work or something, and my wife calls me and she's like, my dad went in for his checkup. He has pancreatic cancer.
Fuck.
And they've given him 4 days to live.
4 days?
What?
4 days. I'm already on my way. I'm heading to Burbank Airport. I'm flying to the Bay. It's like, okay. And, you know, obviously imagine that, right? You've got 4 days to reconcile, whatever the fuck you're going to reconcile, see your pop. Really cool. Really, really cool guy. Yeah, really, really, really cool guy. And he was like, I'm going to have a life party. So he had this big party, up their house in Marin, which is Bay Area. Everybody comes and stuff. Real does a number on your head.
So heavy, I'm sure, yeah.
He lived 4 months. But that 4 months, anytime the phone rang or whatever, you know, it was like, is he, you know, is it happy? You know,
Yeah.
really put a number on my ex-wife, you know, reasonably so.
Yes.
So that happens in like about a year later or so, into or year and a half into our marriage.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely affects our marriage. It's hard. That's a lot, you
It's a
know.
lot,
And
yeah.
again, there's a lot to reconcile. So then we break up, and then before we break up, my sister gets sick.
Fuck.
She has cancer.
Jesus, man.
She has colon cancer.
Wow, man.
And then I break up with my wife, and then my sister dies a year later.
Holy shit, Sam. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
This pod just took a turn, man.
Yeah, it's real shit.
Real shit. Wow, man.
It-
So much loss in
Kind
such
of
a short period
leading
of time.
into the next band and all this stuff. But
Damn, Sam.
it's crazy. And on top of that, so fucked up. Like right after that, my aunt gets kicked in the head by a horse. True story.
What?
And has brain damage. She has to get flown out.
What?
Like it's really just all this succession of like pain, grief.
Fuck, man.
It's a lot, man.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's funny. It's not funny. It was weird to use it, but I remember thinking right before all this stuff happened, and we're talking about, you know, 70s rock and stuff. I'm a really big fan of the Allman Brothers.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I remember listening to Allman Brothers be like, oh man, like I've never had the blues. I've never really had the blues. I lost my best friend, the guy that turned me on to The Who,
Oh, wow.
when I was
Yeah.
20, 21. He died of a brain aneurysm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't really know a lot. Like I hadn't really processed that loss,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I was living away, and it was very traumatic. It was really close to my mom and I and my sister. But I remember I was like, I never really sang the blues. And, you know, my breakup with my wife it was messy. It was messy. And she was dealing with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but I started singing the blues. So I started this band Night Horse. It was another thing like, hey, these guys have this band. And like I told them about you, you know, and it was like they were really into AC/DC and Alice Cooper and the Allman Brothers and all this kind of 70s rock. So I was just like, yes, I'll do this because this is like an outlet for me to sing the blues.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did. You know, it's funny, the second record, we did 2 records on this New York label.
Perdition Hymns?
Yeah, Perdition Hymns.
Yeah.
Jamie Miller plays drums from Bad Religion on that.
Oh,
Jamie Miller.
That's crazy.
Jamie Miller was in Night Horse with us. I'll never forget it too. We had this other guy, Brandon, played drums, and it just wasn't really working out. And we had played, and Jamie had come see us. We're friends, and I was really close with Amy, his wife. And another friend was like, "Hey, you know, if you need a drummer, you should talk to Jamie." And I had never really seen Jamie play drums. I just known Jamie.
Yeah.
They were in that band called The Start, and he was in this band Snot from Maryland. And,
Snot, yeah.
yeah. But I never really seen him play drums. And I was like, is he good? And she was like, yeah, he's really good. And so I was like, fuck it. And he kind of approached me like, hey, I heard your drummer left. And I was like, yeah, like, why don't I meet up you at the show and I'll give you like a CD, like a burned CD. It's like, you know, it's totally different now. You just like, here's a link to blah, blah, blah. Here's a Spotify account, you know, Spotify link. And I was like, we're going to rehearse like in like a day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Is that enough time? And he was like, yeah. He listened to the CD as he drove from Long Beach to the Valley.
Wow.
Came in and just murdered it.
It's amazing.
Like
dude.
elevated it. I remember just being
Yeah.
like, holy fuck, Jamie Miller's insane. You're a fucking incredible drummer. This like,
Yeah.
I feel like we go for Metallica now or something. But yeah, I did Night Horse, but that was really kind of the beginning of like a really dark time in my life. That's where like I really got.
The Dark One Hides You is the name of the first.
Yeah. I got really into drugs and alcohol.
Oh, wow.
You know, that's like where it really kind of accelerated. You know, I just wasn't dealing with any of that stuff, you know, and and at the time I thought I was, or I don't know. It was like really confusing,
Yeah.
you know, and it was a solid 10 years of
10
just
years.
of
Wow.
hard drinking and really doing drugs and stuff.
Wow.
You did that band had broken up, and then, did Obliterations.
You're also working Fearless Records too at the time too.
Yeah, so Fearless Records is around the Night Horse stuff, and that was like, you know, I was a music supervisor, and Fearless
Director of Music Licensing.
Yeah, Fearless comes to me through another music supervisor that they're like, you should talk to Sam Velde. It was almost like the Chris Bratton thing, you know. It was like they're like, hey, we need to create a licensing department, and I was like, I don't really know how to do that. I'm music licensing people call me to put their music on films, but they just wouldn't go away. They were like they had like a, you know, like a universal moment where they're like, you're the guy. And they were like, we can offer you this. I was like, it's crazy, you know, like, okay. So I worked for them for a couple years.
Are you still partying during that time working?
Oh,
there too?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so was everybody at Fearless.
Yeah.
But I worked there for 2 years and helped develop their licensing department. You know, I remember meeting with them. I was like, I'm not really into this music. I see the value of it, but it's not really my cup of tea. The only thing I knew about really was at the drive-in, you know. But it was cool. It was cool to work at a label like that. They're so good at what they did.
Yeah.
I learned a ton, you know, working there. But then, you know, I was still music. I left there and was doing some licensing on my own and music supervising at the same time. And then
the Music Box too. You worked at the Music Box.
Music Box.
License director. I don't know. 2014. I don't know. Maybe that was in your repertoire. I don't know.
2014.
I don't know, man.
It might have been like a project or something.
Yeah, the Music Box. I don't know. That was listed in there. It's all blur.
Yeah. But yeah. So I started playing music with my friend Stephen McBean, who's in a band called Black Mountain, and my buddy Austin, who was in this band Yaffa Koda that was an Epillusion, and he was in a band called Saviors, and we just got together and started playing, and it clicked really fast.
Yeah.
And we started putting out music that sounded like, cross between Poison Idea and Motorhead and every era of Black Flag, and
Sick.
ended up putting out a record on Southern Lord. But Steven's main thing was Black Mountain. That's how he makes a living. And at the time, Austin was doing Savers, kind of the same thing. But it was really fun. And it was kind of like, when that was kind of like coming to a halt, I really had this like kind of revelation. I was like, I don't really want to be a music supervisor. I was like, getting older, and what do I do? I kind of got to figure it out now. Right. If I'm not going to do music supervising, I'm kind of miserable doing music supervising. The admin part of it's just like, I was like, this isn't for me.
Yep.
And the managing expectations and stuff. And started to think about just being in a band and like how rewarding it is when you kind of reach those small victories.
Yeah.
Like when you get on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Dude, we're open for so-and-so.
Yeah.
Or like, dude, so-and-so wants to put out a 7-inch. Or like, you start you're doing
sure.
these things, and I was like, man, I love that. I really, really love that. And some sort of de facto managed to some degree all the bands I'd been in.
Sure.
And so I was like, I think I might get into music managing. I feel like I could grow old doing that respectfully,
yeah, for sure, yeah.
like gracefully. And so that was sort of that was sort of where it started.
Future Now Management, yeah.
Yeah, which is named after an MC5 song.
Sure.
Yeah.
2014 started that around?
I started helping a friend in about 2015.
Okay.
But it really kind of kicked in 2016. Started working with Culture Abuse.
Okay, yeah, I remember, yeah.
Yeah, ended up.
That was the first kind of band?
Yeah, like the first, like, we're out here, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And we ended up signed to Epitaph. Put on a record.
You got them signed to Epitaph.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Shout out to Brett Gerwitz, best.
Mr. Brett Gerwitz. Yeah, I remember forgetting. We're kind of just building stuff up and getting on tours and doing the stuff you do. They had a record out already. That's why I heard it. I had met them through Obliterations. We'd played a couple shows with them in the Bay Area.
Okay.
But then they released a single off this record, Peach, and I was like, holy shit! This is not the band we played with.
Yeah.
This is some insane songwriting. And then when the record came out, I was like, this record's incredible. I just showed up to a show. I was like, hey, I'm going to manage you guys.
Are they from out here?
They're from the Bay Area.
Okay.
They're like, okay. And, but, Epitaph was always like kind of I was like, this feels like Epitaph would be into it. And they started to get interest, from other labels and stuff. And their lawyer is a friend of mine. You guys probably know him, Brian Christner.
Yeah.
Played in Shelter.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody says that. Brian Christner played in
From
Shelter?
They do.
He's got a minor throat tattoo. He was like, I think when should we send this to Brett? And I was like, not yet. It was like that kind of thing. And there was this moment, I'm like, send it to Brett. It was like, and we sent it to him, and Brett, I knew Brett because when I was in Yuckmouth, we recorded with Brett at West Beach.
Okay, yeah.
And Yuckmouth was a band I was in Orange County.
Yeah.
When I went to Orange Coast College, and we put out, like I had mentioned that before.
Yeah.
But so I had known Brett, and Brett was interested in the friend that I was helping out for Anti. So I'd reconnected with Brett, and I just get this call from him. He's like, hey, in my car, I'm listening to Culture Abuse. And I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm ready to make you a deal.
Wow.
Awesome.
It was really cool.
It's awesome.
And it was a really good learning experience, and they're a great label. And everybody there is just so great. And
yes.
And I think, they understood I was a young manager too, and helped me, understand things,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then from there, I just
7 seconds.
Yeah. Then 7 seconds and Scowl. And,
how soon did you get 7 seconds when you first started?
Well, COVID happens.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
COVID happens in 2020. Culture Abuse breaks up. It's like, all right, well, shit. Now we're just all just sitting here.
Yeah.
I had this show on. Thankfully, I had this show on Vans. I
remember that. Walter Schreifel. What was it called?
It was called Channel 66.
That's
right. It was
Van 66.
5 days a week.
That was really cool, man.
It was neat. And I had a lot of great guests.
Where'd you film that at?
At the Van store in downtown LA.
Okay.
Yeah, but Walter was on it. And I had Joe Nelson on that one.
Yes.
And again, I've known Joe, for a long time because we're Orange County hardcore people.
Yes. Dude, that was a great thing to watch during the pandemic, man.
Yeah, it was super fun. And Kevin was on the show.
Yes.
Who's my? Because I would always have like
Patrick Hap Hart in there. No.
Yeah. Pat Flynn was on it, and I would like the idea of the show was called All Ages Show, and I would have a guest co-host and a host and a guest.
Was Cat on there too?
Well, I did a flat spot spotlight.
Okay.
So it was Zulu and Scal and Che and Ricky.
Yep.
Mexi Mike showed up. Mexi Mike was, I think he was on he was on 2 or 3 of the episodes. Like
That's
he's like
cool.
the only like real like recurring
He's the best dude.
guest
Shout out to
because he's
Mexi, dude.
the greatest dude ever.
Yes.
Big shout out to Mexi always.
Yeah, that was a cool thing. I remember watching that.
Yeah, and Kevin was on that. I'm trying to remember who my I think it was Gitter. It was me, Gitter, and
Gitter's
Kevin.
on there for sure.
Right.
Dude.
Yeah, it was us 3. I think
Gitter's everywhere, man.
Yeah, and they were bringing it back and going to do the
7 seconds.
Yeah, they're working on the reissue crew and then the tour.
Was Sammy in the mix yet at that point?
Yeah, Sammy that was like, okay, it's gonna be Sammy, and
great addition, man. Shout out to Troy Mowat, my man.
oh yeah,
it was cool. He gave him like the blessings for Sammy
That's
to
so
join.
cool.
Yeah, and Sammy fucking
Killing.
holding it down, dude. Yeah.
Sammy's super. What a talented drummer, Yeah. And they were gearing up to do this huge tour with Circle Jerks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really big venues.
Which I saw was incredible.
And Kevin called me and they'd also done this thing for Trust that they used my living room for. It's like Matt Pinfield interviewed Kevin Seconds.
Oh yeah, I do
Wow.
remember that.
That was cool.
I remember that. Yes.
And I'd never met Matt. Obviously, I knew about him.
That's
MTV
a music
and stuff.
encyclopedia.
Yeah, and
man.
I was like, okay, I got nothing on this dude. He's insane. But it was cool because he was just like sitting there looking at my records. He's like, oh, you're in a ZZ Top. Did you know that? Like, and I was like, kind of like, is this dude gonna know what's up with 7 seconds? And then he just murdered it.
Bro, he knows about every. Shout out to
he
Matt Pinfield, dude.
Yeah, he just like
He knows everything.
Extremely
man.
nice.
bro just like laid it down. But yeah, and then Kevin just called me, and I think Joe had a big part of that. He was like, would you be interested in this and stuff? And I think you do a good job. And honestly, I thought about this the other day. It's like my response was like, I have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do it. Like I'm indebted to 7 Seconds. I'm indebted to these bands.
Yeah. Sure.
That's like, they're such a important part of my life.
Yeah.
It's the gravity of that is like heavy. It's real, and the people we know, of this community, we all have these bands.
Absolutely.
Whether it's whatever generation it is, you hold a lot of this stuff sacred, and it's not to be. I don't want to sound like it's corny or something, or like super heavy-handed or whatever. But it was like, that's important stuff.
Yeah.
And of course I want to help. And that's kind of why I'm here.
Yeah.
I looked at the management thing as like, I'm just here to help. Whatever capacity, it changes from band to band.
Yeah.
It's like, well, whatever capacity you need me to help, I want to try to do that.
Sure.
Like some bands need a lot. Some bands need a little.
Yeah.
Some bands need it in this category. Some bands need it in all category.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really to be of service.
Absolutely.
And that's something I kind of learned getting sober too,
Mm-hmm.
It's just being of service to other people and to service the things you love,
Right.
Yes.
so.
I feel like Kevin, I'm sure he was like almost a father figure to me growing up with his lyrics and his everything.
Yeah. I've heard you say that, it's pivotal, it's pivotal. Like I told, about reading those lyrics to my mom.
Yeah. The crew. Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
It's like, there's it's important stuff,
Important stuff, man.
It was important stuff. And,
was
it
like
still holds a lot of like strong importance, the consciousness of it,
for sure.
It's like the consciousness of it.
Like
but
it was like a life coach for me, man, as a young age, like having a counselor in school.
Yeah.
Something like that,
Yeah. I mean, that's
those lyrics.
to be able to say that about records is really pretty profound.
And how they make you feel even now, like 40 years later, listening to those songs.
Yeah,
that
you
bring
go back
it
and be like, yep, that's the deal. And that, informs us. It has informed us on how we live. And sometimes we need to be reminded.
For sure.
But guess what? Put the record on, I'm reminded.
Yes.
You know?
So
it's
working with them was a huge deal for you and bringing that on.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. To be honest with you, that tour was a lot of work, and it was, you know, everybody got COVID on that tour.
That's
It
right,
was
I remember that.
It was crazy, and you know, I'm like kind of jumping in. This was my first bus tour.
Hmm.
Like hiring the bus, you know,
Oh, wow.
Who's on the bus? Just 7 seconds?
7 seconds, and paying, you know, paying the driver and
Oh,
their crew, you know, merch and
Was Negative
tech
Approach
and
on
stuff.
that too?
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
On the
You
same
know.
bus?
And like getting to
No.
know Kevin and Steve and Bobby and everybody, and
I mean, absolute like pioneers, legends. I mean, there's nothing. I
Well,
mean,
you said it, pioneer. It came up last night in conversation with a friend of mine. I was like, they're pioneers, you know. And he was
no
at
doubt.
the conversation between Kevin and Ian, where they're just talking about that era.
Yeah,
you
and
know, like
yeah,
they're like kind of the first wave of bands to really like go for it and go out in the country and, you know, based on some phone numbers and some names and
yes,
you know, and you know how it's really kind of the Wild West, really, where you book the show and then you show up and hope it's still happening, and then
Yeah, man,
it's
for
not. It got canceled because
dude, it paved
someone
the way
couldn't
for-
get the PA, or
Yeah,
you know, and then you're like, well, this other guy says we can do this down here. You know, it's like
totally.
what a crazy,
Yeah.
crazy time.
How about that footage of Kevin singing outside in the backyard
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that little barn?
Yeah,
man,
that
that was
was-
yeah,
crazy,
yeah. That's
dude.
I think that's at Inner Ear.
In your ear,
with
yeah,
Dawn,
yeah.
with Dawn. I did a lot of HR tracked stuff out there
Dude.
too. But
Just seeing Ian and Kevin talk about making the new Win record and all that, was such a beautiful night. We got to go to that.
Mhm.
It's
yeah,
like,
but
dude.
pioneers, man, you know, it's like got to remember too, like going out at that time and playing music that most of the world looked down on
Yeah,
and was
Mhm.
like, that's like I've said that's bad.
totally.
You guys are doing,
Yeah.
you guys are slamming. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
You guys are hurting each
Because it's
other.
not,
Yeah.
they don't understand.
Yeah,
You know, it's just like purely just not understanding that there's this whole other thing happening, and
Absolutely.
how it works. It doesn't, if you try to explain it to someone, yeah, we get in this, like, you know, it used to be this California slam pit, and you get in there and just kind of go in the circle, but you kind of like swing everywhere and skank and do all this stuff. And then like the evolution of moshing. Yeah. And like you spin kick, and you know, that's like kind of
Big
judo. And then
Yeah,
this
people
guy's
weren't
doing
understanding that.
judo, and this guy's doing
Even
floor
ahead of
punching,
that.
and this person's doing two-stepping, and somehow there's harmony, but then it's like, when there's not, it's not, you know, and it's
People
like,
definitely didn't understand.
you know,
Like,
it's like, but no, we pick up the people that fall down, and you know, it's like,
this guy's running across people's heads for some reason.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was on like a Quincy episode.
You
know,
can't-
like they're trying to explain.
it's really hard
Yeah.
to explain that. You know, I think it's become easier
Sounds
now
crazy.
in a time of so much
No, for sure.
information exchange and visual exchange and stuff like that. But
We can fast forward now. It's just Scowl. Like, I think one of the greatest, newest bands that's come up in the hardcore scene. You know, watching their sounds change and evolve and their live show and everything. It's amazing, man.
yeah, really,
You've been with them from the beginning.
yeah. Yeah, Ricky and I were talking about this the other day. You know, I think we started working with them right about now in 2021. Yeah, that's 4 years.
Yeah,
going into
it's
our 5th year.
Only
and-
4 years have been doing. It's crazy.
yeah,
dude.
you know, they're a really hardworking band.
Always on tour.
Always on tour. You know, they've made all their music in between the tours, and the fact that
They're a hardworking band, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
their sort of musical evolution, you know,
Yeah,
where it kind of starts from and where it's now, and I don't, you know, see where it goes. It's fun and cool and exciting,
yeah.
you know. And again, we've got some older guys in this room when we grew up in the 80s, you know, where
Yes.
we saw that mid 80s is where there was these bands that had the bravery to try different things,
Absolutely. man.
and sort of like not afraid to change their sound.
I mean, think about
and-
New Win record. People.
I
hate
was just
that
gonna say,
record. I
New
mean,
Win
love that record.
was like, oh, you're it's much more melodic and
Love that record, dude.
you're slowing things
Great.
down, and you're even expanding upon things you're saying, and-
Looking different with the hair. Just
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you know,
album
and-
cover.
But the thing is about
Bro.
that era, it's like they weren't alone. I mean, I was
No.
talking
No.
about, you know, Black Flag's My War.
yeah.
You know, they went from Damaged to My War.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Obviously, they had all this legal issue, but then My War they show up in My War, and they got long hair, and they're
Mhm.
playing slow.
How about Staring to the Sun, the second Uniform Church record?
Yeah,
And
again,
then Mindfunk.
80s, you know, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
it's like
dude.
there's a lot of. I mean, we were talking about, you know, off microphone about the Cox Bar show this weekend, and
Yeah.
and just talking about Homefront, and I mentioned the record, you know, Second Empire Justice by Blitz. That's like like a synthy, gothy kind of another 80s record. You know, it's like the mid 80s were like Government Issue changes. And,
Oh yeah,
you know,
I love those records.
You go from Minor Threat to Embrace. You know, like some people start new bands, new sound, and some people in their bands start new sound. You know, Necros went from a hardcore band to a hard rock band. The Tangled Up record sounds like Aerosmith.
Did not know that.
You know, it's like this was happening.
DYS did something like that too.
SSD Control.
SSD, yeah.
DYS did it. DYS did it too.
Yes.
You know, the rock got into Boston. You know, and metal came in. You know, when Metallica tours and everybody gets a second guitar player.
And we had Junkyard too.
You know, that's going. That's Brian Baker.
No, I know.
You know, but
he tried something different though.
I saw that show.
So you know,
he was in Doggy Style too, right?
Yeah, he was in Doggy Style, and it became. They stopped being Doggy Style and became Doggy Rock.
Oh
Right.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, Joe Nostrum mentioned that the other day. Even Dag Nasty were like, I love Can I Say and I love Wig Out.
Yeah,
I love
they went
Field
to Field Day. Yeah.
Different style.
So you know,
Singers.
it's like I think about Scal, like the first record into the EP into the new record, but it's a really seamless thing.
It all makes sense. To
It
me,
all
yeah.
works. It's like here's the thing.
It's organic as fuck.
What I find to be the coolest thing of all time when it comes to music is when you hear a band and you know it's that band.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
It's unmistakable.
Yes.
I think that's the crowning jewel. Like,
Mhm.
you know, you hear Turnstile, you know it's
Yes.
Turnstile.
Absolutely.
You know, they have
man.
created their own thing. It's like,
Incredible, dude.
you know, people are like, it's a punk, it's a hardcore. It's
I know.
Turnstile, man.
It's Turnstile,
Fucking
dude.
Turnstile. And it's like
Love that.
I was listening to Doors this morning. You know, I was like, the Doors. I'm going to put on the Doors. It was like, nobody sounds like this.
No.
Like, that's so fucking insanely unique.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
You know, and so I think Scal sounds like Scal.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's fucking something else.
And there's such a good mix between pop, grunge, hardcore, punk, everything. Just watched one the other day. They opened up for Tsunami.
Yeah, co-headliner at the Palladium.
Yeah, it was a huge show.
Yeah.
And just seeing Kat on stage, she's such a great front. She kills it. And just the band tight and the sounds and the style and the singing and the heart and the screaming. It's amazing, man. The diversity, of her voice and everything and the style of the music. And it's got a grunge vibe to it, melodic vibe to it.
Yeah,
and,
you know, it's cool when you can.
But there's still a hardcore punk band.
When you can seamlessly combine all these things that you're inspired by.
Yeah.
And they like work.
Yeah.
You know? It's like look at Nirvana, like that first record. It's like, wow, they really love the Melvins.
Yeah.
You know, you hear it.
Oh,
But it's
yeah.
like, but they're not the Melvins.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's like Nevermind comes out. You're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I think bands go through the transition of developing their identity. You know,
Sound,
most bands are usually influenced by something else
100%.
until they come into their own personality, which is exciting to see that growth. You know, it's really
just
cool
like a
that.
human,
It's got its own
it's
sound,
like a
man.
human being.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
I mean,
it's
they're
like,
human beings in
you know,
the band.
it's like you
they're going through things.
you grow up and
you know?
you learn a little bit of this and you learn a little bit of that and
yeah.
you take a little bit of this
Of
and you take a
course.
little bit of that and
you also get comfortable. You know, as seeing interviews with Roger Daltrey, you know, the Who, like when he got in, he was like, it took years
Well, you
for
know,
him to feel comfortable.
well, you know what's crazy
and
about-
I never knew that. I
I'm
was like,
you know, obviously being a huge Who fan,
right.
there's this turning point in the Who's career, and it's Tommy. And you know that it came at this point where Pete didn't want to be in the Who anymore because they were really focusing on singles. That's what bands did. You would make all these singles and then you would put them on the album. He was like, man, I'm fucking over this game.
Damn.
And he was like, he was living on his manager's couch.
Fuck.
And they have hits, you know.
Crazy.
Bangers.
Like yeah, like, and they're like, "What do you want to do?" And he's like, "I want to do this rock opera." And they're film guys. They like got into managing the Who because they thought they looked cool and they wanted to put them in this film.
Wow.
There's a documentary about the two guys. It's really
Okay.
cool. And you know, they start working on Tommy, and there's this moment where Roger comes in and he's not the old Roger anymore. And it's like, and Pete was like, it was a song that Pete was like, I'm probably gonna have to sing this song because Rogers can't do it,
Damn.
right?
Mm.
And he was like, Roger was like, that was a moment where Roger's like, no, I can fucking do it. And
Wow.
and it's the turning point of like Roger becoming the singer.
Mm.
And you know, Tommy ends up being their biggest record. It's huge. It's massive.
Yeah.
You know, it's the beginning of stadium rock.
Wow.
You know, and it goes on Broadway. They have a play, and it becomes
Yeah.
a film and all this stuff. But it was like, yeah, that's where Roger steps into it. But they'd been a
amazing.
band for quite a while.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
That's
what I
why
mean?
thought it was shocking that he was saying this, and I was like, wow, I can kind of relate to where he's coming from, in certain ways. But it was interesting to hear that, that he had to go through this transformation, evolving within the band.
It's a lifespan.
Which is great.
I feel like it's a lifespan. It's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's neat to. Again, there's another band that's like you're the Who.
Yeah.
Right. You look at the Beatles, like the Beatles. You look at Led Zeppelin. Their first record's mostly covers.
Mm.
You know? Kind of learning it as you go along.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
But by the third album, it's like, whoa, this is Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And the critics were once like, these guys are a fucking bunch of copycats. Now they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Look who's here.
Right.
I'm not saying that's Scal. I think Scal right off the bat made just really cool, interesting music.
Right.
Totally. And I love that, like, now in hardcore, there's not one, because back in the day, a lot of bands would make the same record over and over again, the same breakdowns. And I love that in the new generation, you can show your Cranberries or Sundays or other influences in your hardcore band, and it's still hardcore. I don't know. It's interesting.
What's fascinating about hardcore is that your early hardcore bands weren't influenced by hardcore bands. They're influenced by punk and rock music, and
It's true.
in punk music, in its sort of infancy, specifically in England, was influenced by glam and pub rock.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they were all listening to Bowie and Slade and Sweet and Dr. Feelgood and Eddie and the Hot Rods and stuff. And so
Good point.
like Minor Threat's listening to Damned.
Yeah.
Bad Brains listening to Damned. It's like
You love Ted Nugent.
yeah, and then there's the hard rock stuff. And Bad Brains were listening to the Mahavishnu Orchestra and Weather Report.
It's a really
Right.
good point.
And then
actually,
they discover Bob Marley.
Yeah.
It's like so it's kind of almost like back to, it kind of harkens to that kind of thing where a band like Scal, it's like, we're listening to Negative Approach and Gnostic Front, but we like L7 and Nirvana, and Bikini Kill and
Paramore, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that, man. I love the new generation. It feels like hardcore is like bigger than ever. Do you feel like that?
Yeah.
Especially because you're in it, managing, you're in like traveling.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's like seeing, hardcore bands play the Palladium.
Yeah.
Nuts. I saw 2 hardcore shows in 1 week at the Palladium. One was Drain. Yeah.
Ceremony selling out the Palladium in 2024.
That's crazy.
It was
it's
like
a big venue.
It was like,
It's a lot of people, man.
and thinking to myself, all these bands, they're doing well, right? They have fans, but like it's also like the community shows up for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
It's like, hey, that's a big venue. Let's go support it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
great.
Let's show
to
up
see.
for this.
Yeah.
That's how I felt with Ceremony. It's a really incredible band. They're one of my favorite California punk hardcore bands, ever.
Yeah.
Roanoke Park was amazing. That was such a fucking incredible record. All their records, really. There's another band that's just like, you can't box them in. They're going to put out Power Violence. They're going to put out this. They're going to put out 80s influenced synth stuff. It's like, you can't box them in.
What do you think it is now? Why it is so big in 2025? I think it's because it coming out of the pandemic and people.
I think that's a big part of it. I think the pandemic I think it's a younger generation
for sure
had a moment. We really the pandemic is crazy because we all looked to the outside world through social media.
Yes.
And we all were kind of stuck inside for quite a bit. And you also start to see the rise of like 4K, and you start to see people posting live shows on 4K and you start to see podcasts and vans and all this kind of stuff.
Good
where
point.
it's just sort of bridging more access to this stuff. I think a big part of it was the visual aspect of it.
Sure.
And again, it's younger, it's like, and I think it's the bands too, obviously. And it's the culture building and building and building. And, obviously I think it's important. You have to recognize Turnstile, it's
absolutely,
like,
man.
and Turnstile deserves everything. There's a band that is grinded and grinded and grinded. Incredible work ethic and,
over 15 years, man. Yeah.
Incredible unbridled creativity and vision.
Yes.
And so I think, and again, bands like Ceremony and things like that, that are celebrated within the community, that, Sound and Fury and things like that.
Yes.
But I think, seeing that kind of stuff as a young person, you see what's happening in those rooms, those hardcore shows. And it's like, again, here's a band expressing itself. Bands that are all in this community, and a lot of them are so many of them are different. All kind of have a common mission statement,
Absolutely.
And then you see how people react to it. But it's like there's not a big difference between crowd and band.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
for
all
sure.
It all works together.
Yes.
If you're looking at that and you're watching people have fun, stage dive and mosh and all this kind of stuff, I think even if you're just someone that had never seen it, you're like, holy shit, that looks fucking cool.
I want to be part of that. Yeah.
I want to be part of that. And it's like, so I think what you had post-COVID is people checking that out.
Sure.
You had people coming back like, oh fuck, we can get in rooms and
they're definitely realizing how important
And
interaction with other people
and live music.
Music's essential.
And live music.
Yes.
And again, I'll say
community.
Again, I'll use the word community. It's like,
yeah, man, yeah.
like that's fucking important, man. And
I like how Turnstile is big as they're getting. They bring the community with them. They're bringing all the bands on tour. Their friends. They're like just showing the world this beautiful thing that's been here for a long time, and just
awesome, really adhering to the tradition of punk and hardcore.
Yes.
It's like where you do that. You bring people up. And you honor people. Bringing ceremony out on the Glow On tour and stuff. It's
That's
like
awesome.
And younger bands too, like Truth Cult and stuff like that. It's like that's it. That's the shit.
Put Start Today in the show here.
That's the goddamn good stuff.
It is, man.
And it's important because it keeps it going. It keeps it alive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing about hardcore in particular. It's like everybody supports each other.
100%.
It's like it's not a very competitive community. And if it is competitive, if that exists, it's probably a healthy scenario between people. But it's not. It's still, you see people in bands like posting about other bands
Always
and flyers and friends and for the children gets posted and everybody posted. It's like
does.
It's like essentially what that is that's people flyering for a show.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Or
like
putting a
that,
flyer by reposting it.
Give me some flyers. I'll put them up in my store or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like that's just another like version of that. And that's proof that people are there, and that's the community. And so I think hardcore's big.
And to you, is hardcore too? It's not one sound or style, right?
No, it's not one sound or style.
Yeah,
Like no.
same.
It's like you could bring that back. We were talking about that 80s stuff.
Yeah.
Like think about this. Here come the Bad Brains, right? Comes a roar cassette. Like holy mother fucking God.
Yes.
Right? And then here comes Rock for Light. It's kind of like part 2. They record some songs. Oddly, Rico Kasich from the Cars comes in and produces it.
Crazy as
cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and then some time goes by and they drop a record called Eye Against Eye.
I know, man.
Dr. No's not playing a Fender, Stratocaster, or whatever. He's playing a Jackson. He's playing a Jackson through a Marshall or a Randall. Like there's no reggae songs, but there's jazz fusion. There's funk. There's hardcore. There's rock.
Yeah.
So if anybody's like out here like, oh, that's not hardcore stuff. Have you ever heard fucking Eye Against Eye?
Great. This is a great.
Have you ever fucking heard Eye Against Eye? Because
Yeah.
if you were to break it down,
quickness too.
if you were to break it down, you'd say, okay, there's a couple hardcore songs. Song Eye Against Eye, undeniable. But like Secret 77, Return to Heaven, would you be like,
bangers?
those aren't hardcore songs? You're like,
nuts.
no, it's the fucking Bad Brains. They're a hardcore band.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a great point,
and
man.
they not only they changed the game on the roar cassette, they come back and change it again in the mid to late 80s with Eye Against Eye.
Yeah.
And then they followed up with fucking
quickness.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's
Great
weird
point,
that you have
Sam.
people out there that are like, that's not hardcore. It's like
I hate that shit.
it's like, man, you can look at music in terms of genre, right? Like a punk genre. There's a punk sound that's punk genre. But like that there's more to punk than 3 chords, right?
For sure.
It's like there is.
Yeah.
Like cuz you could be like, okay, Green Day is a punk band, or Rancid's a punk band. It's kind of it leans more into the genre of punk, right?
Yeah.
But Fugazi's a punk band,
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, and that doesn't sound anything like that.
That's a great point.
And so it's like hardcore. It's like, Negative Approach, fucking hardcore band, greatest of all time.
Yes.
But Bad Brains I Get Say, hardcore record. It's like, is Quicksand a hardcore band? Well, they're hardcore people playing music.
7
And hardcore people like it.
Yeah. New One's a hardcore record to me.
Yeah. So,
it's
there's so much nuance. You can never forget about the nuance,
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. So Scal in 2025, man, out here touring, killing it, nonstop, new record, everything, man.
Yeah, man. Working hard.
Yeah.
Working hard.
What's the label they're on? What's that label that they're on?
Dead Oceans.
Yeah.
Which is part of the Secretly group. It's part of Secretly Canadian and Jaguar, Phoebe Bridgers label.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Satisfactory. Yeah, Dead Ocean put out Phoebe Bridgers, Japanese Breakfast.
Okay. I like this, like a random label like that. It's not like the normal whatever.
Yeah, there was definitely labels that
I remember
were interested. Yeah. I think they just like the idea of Scal's not always going to do what's expected of him.
I love that. It's punk.
Yeah, they kind of just, and they felt like, you obviously want to try to reach as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're not trying to sing inside a cave or a vacuum.
Nah, dude.
So doesn't go too far in a cave.
It doesn't, man.
So
maybe New 7 Seconds, maybe.
What's that?
New 7 Seconds, maybe someday.
Well, I know Kevin has some songs.
He's always writing though.
I mean, he's got a million songs, but I know
a song a day.
I know he's got some songs that are 7 second songs. We'll see if those make it out of the lab.
When the last record that came out? Leave the Light On?
It's been a long time, dude. Yeah.
Well, that one, yeah. It's been a minute for them, dude. Yeah.
Title track is insane.
Great song.
Great song.
I know, man.
So good.
And it still sounds amazing on stage. His voice, all that, incredible, man.
Yeah. Talented, gifted person.
Are you in a band right now at the moment? A new band? Are you in something now?
No, I was playing music. Some friends of mine, we called it Laughing Matter. And
yeah. That's right.
We did some demos. It was my friend John Coyle, who sang in Outspoken. We were in Yuckmouth together.
Nice.
Andrew Black, DC.
Andrew Black, fuck yeah,
drummer,
dude. Explosion, man.
DC guy, and
legend,
and Spidey from Kid Dynamite on bass.
Okay.
And we recorded seemingly a record. I just haven't put the vocals on it, but I got to tell you, after, when the lights went back on after COVID and I just started working, don't have a lot of time, man.
Yeah, you're busy.
It's really hard to shift gears from, helping people manage their businesses, bands, lives, whatever, and then turn on this like music creative thing. You know, it was really hard for me to do that. It's really just a time issue.
Sure.
And it's funny, people today are like, what are you up to, man? And I'm just like, I just work. I play tennis.
That's right. Big tennis person. Yeah.
Yeah. I've a little over a year now.
How many times a week you play tennis?
4 to 5.
Wow, dude.
It's like I work, play tennis, walk my dog, rinse, repeat. It's like,
what's like a work day for you? Work from home usually, obviously.
Yeah. I work from home.
Is it just you and the management or just?
It's just me. And then of course, like I mentioned, I work with Ricky and I work with James. And I do some bands myself.
Yeah.
About 6 bands total.
Wow.
So, and then I work with Thrasher Magazine still.
Awesome.
I do their deathmatch event.
That was a great one. So I did the one with Haywire.
Yeah.
It looked amazing.
Yeah. And mostly like if they have a live music element to what they're doing, we did these Thrasher weekends for a couple years. But, I'm up early. I got a dog about a year and a half ago. Wasn't planned. It's like a unplanned child.
Yeah.
It's like I was like, oh fuck, I didn't realize what I got myself into. Because I grew up with dogs, but it was like I forgot that I had a sister and a mom also.
Took care.
In a backyard. How
old's your dog?
She's probably
a rescue.
Yeah, she's probably going to be 2 next month, around there, and she's an angel.
Awesome.
It's really cool to have an animal enter my life. Kind of reminds you of like it's obviously it's not the same as having a child, but it's like kind of takes you out of like all this. I'm like, oh yeah, life is creating relationships and maintaining relationships.
Sure.
And taking care of something, and supporting something is really important.
Absolutely.
For both of us.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, like I'm up. She tries to wake me up around 6. I get up usually around 7. And I'm out the door within 30 minutes. You know, it's like up with the sun.
That's awesome.
You know, Me Puppets quote.
How many coffees before noon?
Oh man. So it's like this. The 30 minutes is me making coffee. So she wakes me up. I'm like, all right, I'll put you outside on the porch. Let me make the coffee. Then we do the walk. We walk a little over a mile.
Nice.
You know, come back, drink another cup of coffee. You know, start working. You know, like look at the phone. I try not to do that stuff.
You book all the flights for the bands and do all that kind of stuff?
Not really at this point.
That's cool.
I have booked some flights. It's, you know,
usually the artist wants to book their own flights. Pick their own
I will book flights.
Yeah.
If they do, like, you know, I'm here to help, you know, but it's not, I've gotten into this era. Most of the bands have tour managers.
Yep.
Yeah.
So really that's a tour manager job.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but I'm happy to do it if they need me to do it, you know?
Just like on call all day with different bands if they're on tour.
Yeah. There's always, you're juggling different stuff, but yeah.
We're talking, have a connection probably more with the tour manager, right?
Well, everybody, everything's different,
right.
You know? But yeah, I usually I'm working by 9 at the latest.
What are the other bands? So you have Scal and what are the other?
Scal and Nuevo Testamento.
Uh-huh.
I work with Haywire. I've been helping Trash Talk.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're going to have a
band.
Pretty busy year in 2026.
Nice.
Celebrating their 20th anniversary.
Awesome.
I work with 7 Seconds, and I work with Sun, or some people know it as Sun-O. It's the metal drone band, which features Greg Anderson of Brotherhood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Southern Lord Records. But yeah, I've been friends with them I met Greg in 1990 when I went to the Pacific Northwest with Head First. He'd just broken up Brotherhood.
Wow.
Been friends.
You Brotherhood fan?
Yeah. Friends ever since.
I mean, no. I mean, not fanatical, but yeah.
The first Seattle straight edge band.
That's so cool.
The
really?
first. Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Wow.
Yeah. The first.
Fuck.
Shout out to Ron Gardapi. He passed away, singer.
Dude, that's
but yeah. So that's my day.
And your workout is tennis. That's your workout.
Yeah, tennis is, you know, it's cool because you can't think about anything else but the tennis.
Sure.
Right.
No phone, just like.
You're just in there, you know, and play with friends, play competitively. I don't know, I never thought I'd call myself a tennis player. I'm kind of an obsessive person, so I go from things. You know,
what's a new obsession for you besides tennis?
Tennis is the obsession. Before that, it was rock climbing.
Nice.
And before that, it was cycling, and I was
running.
Running was like kind of like that was a big one, dude.
Okay.
Like that was the dark era. I would still run. I would like wake up hungover and go run 3 miles.
Damn.
I was running like 7 miles at one point. Just like get up and run in the middle of the night. I would run in the middle of the night.
Jeez, wow.
When I worked at Fearless, I would go down to their office like 3-4 days a week, and I bought a bicycle and I'd leave it there, and then I'd ride it on my lunch break, and then I'd come home and then I'd run.
Damn.
And I was doing that all the time. But I would sometimes I liked running in the middle of the night, so I'd go run at like 11 p.m. and
people like that, yeah.
I just run.
Yeah.
Like full Forrest Gump style. And I'd be like, I should probably turn around. It was like really that thing, like where, you know, where he's like, yeah, and then one day you just turn around. Just be up in like the Hollywood Hills, just be like, oh, I should probably just like run. I should probably go home now. You know, but like really, if you digging deep, I was going through so much shit.
For sure.
I didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, during the lockdown and COVID or whatever, I got really into like climbing mountains. Not rock climbing, but like, you know,
actual mountains somewhere.
Yeah. Like I did Mount Whitney, which is the highest mountain in the lower 48. Did that with a couple friends in one day.
Wow.
It took 14 hours.
14 hours.
14,500 feet. I did Mount Langley. I was up in Wyoming. I was in Utah. I was just all over. Yeah. Just like was really into that. I really, really missed that. It was like,
that's a crazy workout.
Really. Man. Yeah. And also just like
mental.
Yeah, man, just being in nature, and there's just that's the only sound. It's just you and your footsteps and the wind. The wind and all the stuff that comes with it. There's so much unpredictability. It's so fucking cool.
You have any sketchy moments up there?
Not too much. You always hear, we're doing Mount Langley, and I think it was like the day before, 2 days before, these people got stuck up there, like a storm hit. You're at such a high elevation.
Yeah.
So like what's happening in these high elevations is not happening down here.
Mm-hmm.
There could be a storm right now at the top of Mount Whitney. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the last place on earth you want to be, is exposed above timberline, because lightning is like a thing there.
Okay.
It happens all the time. Shit's just crack, crack, crack. People got stuck up there in a storm.
Fuck that. And they died?
No, they came down.
What's that one mountain that people go and you see bodies up there still that people had died?
Mount Everest. That's like, there's plenty of mountains with dead people, but that has such a high ratio, because that and K2 and some of these mountains, they're really, that's the highest mountain in the world, right?
Yeah.
It sits just below 30,000 feet. It's like 27,000 or something. It's like, 30,000 is where that's where you gotta hit when you're flying. Like that's your highest.
Yeah. Wow. That's right. Yeah.
It's so like, there's no oxygen there. It's crazy that now when you do Everest, is like to do those kind of mountains, you start at a base camp.
Yeah.
And then you go up to camp 1 and you acclimate and you come back down. So you start to trick your body. And then you go up, you go to 1, then you go to 2 and come back down to 1.
I didn't realize.
And that's what you do. Cool. It's by the time you get it, I think it's camp 4, which is like the last camp in Everest. You're actually dying because there's such little oxygen.
Fuck.
And so, now your Sherpas, the guys that help you, they're bringing tanks up there, and you're hitting oxygen tanks, right?
Jeez.
But like, think about the guys that did that before all that. They just did it, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's like.
Why don't nobody get those bodies off?
You think you're fucking hard?
Yeah.
Go climb fucking Everest without any oxygen. See how fucking hard you are.
Fuck.
It's like, it's real wild shit. So like, yeah, but you're literally dying because there's lack of oxygen. So that's just what it does, is just depleting brain cells.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah. So, but I was just talking about Everest last night, because there's this famous book by John Krakauer. He wrote, I think it's called Into the Void. He was on one of the most treacherous expeditions ever. I think 13 people died because the weather is so unpredictable. Yeah. So you could be like, okay, we're going to do Mount Everest. And to do Mount Everest, you got to get sponsored. It costs so much money. You have to pay the government so much money to do it.
Really?
Yeah. It's, you're on their land and you're beating up this mountain. And so these corporations come in and they'll sponsor these, 10 people to go up, whatever. That's why you see the people at the top of the flag and they got all this stuff written all over them.
Yeah.
Taco Bell and fucking, whatever.
Yeah.
But you sit at that base camp and you just wait for them to like the weather. And they're like, all right, conditions are ready, let's go. And if you get caught up there, and it can change, like I was saying, it can change so fast. Mm-hmm. It's that expedition, they got caught up there. And what happens now, and this is like, I think he did it in like the 80s, but now it's so crowded because the world is crowded.
Yeah, man.
And like, you'll get stuck on this one part where you're just in traffic. You're just waiting behind people. And if a storm comes in, now you got to get down. And you got to get down in that line.
Fuck, dude. And
when I did Whitney, I got really, really bad altitude sickness because I ascended too fast. I was too cocky. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh man, this shit's weak. I got this. And then it just hit me so hard.
Really?
Yeah. I've never experienced something like in my life. It was so much discomfort.
Fuck.
I felt like my head was going to explode. And it's like, that too is really dangerous. Mm-hmm. I just went up there, took a look around. It's kind of like Chevy Chase, and when in Vacation, when they go to the Grand Canyon, they're on a schedule. And he goes, okay. All right, cool, see it. They get back in the car. I was up there like, oh, that's fucking cool. I feel like I'm gonna fucking die. And it's Jesus. Like, but that they tell you once you feel like that, get down. Go down. Down. I had to go down 2,000 feet to start feeling normal again.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
How many years you do that for? How many years you hiking?
Not that many. I hiked as a kid, like split half my time with my dad in Minnesota when he lived in Minnesota. He lived in Kansas City for a while too. That's when I saw Husker Du. Yeah. My dad lived in Minnesota. Saw the Descendants play the 7th Street Entry.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah. I saw them in
Think on that tour?
No, in Minneapolis.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So the Entry, dude. You maybe were at the same show. It was like 86. 86. I think it was a bonus cup tour, maybe.
I saw them in 89.
Oh, okay.
I went to visit a friend that was going to school in Milwaukee at Marquette University. And then we went to visit a friend and then I saw the show. I was just like, holy shit, this is crazy.
Oh, that's amazing.
So you want to say something funny? So I go to the entry to see him. You know, it's like there's two venues. Like the entry's, you know, attached to First Avenue, right? Legendary stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, Prince and all that stuff. And I'd seen Husker Du the year before in the First Ave. So I go to the entry. I see Descendants. I'm like, holy shit, you know. I talked to him. Talked to him after.
Talk to all of them.
Yeah, it was definitely. I talked to a bass player, and I was like, "Hey, you know, I'm from California." And they're like, "Oh, cool, man. Where are you from?" And I was like, "Orange County, man. Do you guys know Uniform Choice?" And they're like, "Fuck that band."
Yeah, what?
And I was like,
They
"What?"
got beef.
I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Why?" They're all. They're like a part-time band.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah, I'll never forget. That's what he said to me.
Those are my boys.
I was like, part-time band. What does that mean? Because you know, at that point, I don't know what any of that means.
That's crazy.
I don't know what a
bro.
part-time band. I don't know what a full-time band.
That's
Because you weren't associating bands with like music as their livelihood. Like you weren't like going out and like supporting albums. You just were like, they're playing. You didn't know what that meant. You didn't know like what they got paid or like if that was the only source of income. You just never put any of that stuff together.
Yeah.
Because like
Sure.
you just didn't think about
band. That's crazy,
you didn't like think
man.
about stuff like that. Like and they're just like, well, we fucking tour. You know, that was their you know, they were. They you know, like they're a band that went out and just put it down until they didn't. You know, and then they came back and put it down some more. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Like Flag was a band. They weren't a part-time band. They were a fucking band that went out. And I was like,
Wow.
then you learn like, oh, that these guys are like in school and they tour in the summer and you know, like
that's crazy.
That's
dude.
insane.
It's crazy with like the people to the band. They don't tour enough.
I just remember them saying that. I was like, that's fucking crazy, dude. Because I'm like, because you know me, I'm like, no, that's the greatest band. Well, they're the Kings.
You're friends. You grew up with them.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Do you spend a lot of time on social media?
Probably as much as anybody. You know.
Yeah.
Look at stuff. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, also supporting the bands I work with, like posting flyers
Have to do it, man.
stuff that they're up to, and yeah, you know, I think again, this sound like a broken record using the, like our generation, you know, you struggle with it a little bit, you know, like we were there before and now we're here.
For sure.
And I don't really get too personal on that thing. It's just not for me. I just share music and art, like stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my social life anyways. I love music, so I'll share like records and stuff.
Yeah. I love
You know,
to do that. Yeah.
I went through this thing where I just started sharing like flyers and photos I had.
I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think sometimes I'm like, I should do that more. I should get back to that. I had more time on my hands because it was during COVID. And I was also like, this is literally just sitting in a box.
Sure.
Like it has,
Right.
it's not doing anything.
I
Like
know.
people might like this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always like, I need to invest some more time and keep doing that. It's been years since I've put stuff up, but it's just because it's packed away,
Yeah.
you know?
You're too busy probably to be up there all day looking at shit. And
Yeah, it's like just in like a constant time management, you know? So, yeah, social media is probably as much as anybody, you know? I you know, that thing like, no, I'm never on that shit. It's like, lie, you know?
Are you an optimist or pessimist?
Optimist, realist, but an
Yeah.
optimist. I'm half full. I'm not half empty.
Always been like that?
I don't know.
Mm.
I think there's probably times in my life when I was half empty,
Yeah.
you know, but I'm half full now.
Mm-hmm.
I can recognize the person that isn't,
Yeah.
you know,
And how many years sober now?
just over 7.
Nice.
Yeah. That's a big part of it.
Hell yeah. Dude.
You know, it's a big part of it. And, you know, just you get older, you know?
Yeah. You ever been in therapy before?
Yeah. Yeah. I was in therapy as a kid because my parents were divorced,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, really young.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was, you know, with my sister, without my sister, you know.
That's crazy. I think about therapy, people so young, like they're still kind of like growing. They really don't have a grasp at really what's happening with the divorce or whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that was probably partly to help that. And again,
Yeah.
like, you know, I was kind of looked at as like a bad kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I think more as like I was still a kid, but probably just a troubled kid,
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
Like parents were divorced. My dad lived you asked me if I'd hiked and stuff. My dad lived in the Midwest. I'd spend half the summer with him and half the summer with my uncle in Colorado. And he was a guy that backpacked and hiked, and we would do all that stuff, but I didn't have a father figure in the house,
Yeah.
I had to, that's like, you find things like music
Totally.
and skateboarding too,
Totally.
where it's like, I didn't have the support to be like on teams. I definitely played Little League baseball and stuff like that, but it was like, my mom wasn't available to be at the games or even to take me there. And
kind of on your own.
didn't have like a lot of money. So it's like,
Yeah.
you kind of had the bare necessities to do that stuff. And then when I got sent away, I ended up getting kicked off the basketball team. And then it's just like kind of really like converged on getting really more into skating. And skating wasn't just like a form of transportation, or I was like mimicking like slashing a wave on a bank.
Hell yeah.
I was learning tricks, and the culture was building. Thrasher magazine, and Skateboard magazine, and Action Now.
Trans World.
Yeah, Action Now was a precursor to all that stuff, and I was learning about punk in there and hard rock and BMX and all this kind of different stuff. Yeah, and then I just got really into skating, and you start to, as it grows, you start to meet more people that are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, man.
And you're like, oh, you
Find
skate
your
too?
tribe.
Like at school, like you skate, you're not a surfer? Amazing. Oh, have you skated this ditch? No, take me to that ditch.
So sick. I love that.
Oh, have you heard the Misfits? No.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
I remember skating with this one dude. He ripped. He was from Santa Barbara, and he was a metal dude. He was like, went over to his house, and he played me Slayer. And I was like, shit's like scary.
Yeah.
For sure.
I remember he's like, it's been Sodom. I was like, I thought like what I was into was extreme.
Yeah.
Like, this shit's, I was like, this dude's on another level, dude. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this shit. I remember he was my first, because he was like, he was so much more metal than, like we knew, like we connected on like Cryptic Slaughter.
Wow. Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We connected on like DRI or whatever. But I was like, dude, this dude's like into some dark shit, like destruction and stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool,
Yeah.
And then you learn about Metallica, and that's the thing that like hit me,
Sure.
Then I'm like, oh shit, then like go back to Slayer. That shit's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like they got punk stickers on their guitars.
I know. I remember a lot of people found the Misfits through Metallica wearing Misfits shirts, supposedly.
Absolutely.
They checked out where that skull came from.
That's what made them cool, though, because I was definitely not. I was like, screw metal.
I was in the first minute. I was like, and then you learn, you see the Crimson Ghost, or like you see a GBH sticker or something, and you're like, oh, these guys are now they're extra fucking cool.
No, it's true.
And then they put out Garage Days Revisited, and
that was
cover songs,
cover fucking,
so
the
good.
Misfits. You're like, these guys are the coolest motherfuckers.
Such a great record, dude.
The sound quality. I was like, these guys are so incredible players,
proficient. Yeah, that's a crossover era too. That's that thing we're talking about, the mid '80s. Where I'm like getting like Corrosion of Conformity puts out
COC,
put out Animosity. You're like, you're like, oh, they're definitely into Metallica. I'm into Metallica.
Oh, Metallica were influenced by them.
Yeah, your hair starts
100%.
Your hair's growing a little bit longer. That was like, that was a thing too. Where it was like I was getting into, and then you're like, then you're seeing like, and it's like, and then Blast. Such a cool.
Blast is pretty underrated, man.
Yeah.
So much so we get into that thing, we were talking about where like it sounds like something, but you didn't. So I'm when Blast came out, I bought a Blast shirt before I ever heard Blast because I had seen people like
wearing the shirts,
stickers and stuff, and zines, but because Wishing Well.
Oh yeah, Wishing Well Records. That's
was going to put the record out, and I remember I was at a show, and it was a Uniform Choice show, and they were selling Blast shirts, but they didn't have the record. And I was like, I can have the record. Kind of a poser if I get the shirt, but I better get the shirt because they might not have the shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then picking up the record at this place in Costa Mesa called Music Market, and which was like an actual store. Like it was like they had all kinds of stuff, but I bought a lot. Flex Your Head there, and First Suicidal there and stuff. And going home and putting on that Blast record and be like, oh fuck, it's Damaged era Black Flag.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, again, like I didn't see Black Flag.
Yeah.
And then seeing Blast and be like, I think this is what Black Flag is like.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
it's interesting.
like
yeah,
and just being like, and this is so fucking good. You know, like
yeah. Did you ever see Ill Repute? Oxnard shit back then.
Yes, saw Ill Repute. I was really into all the Oxnard stuff.
Yeah, we talked about the other day. It's so good.
Like
man.
RKL and
yes,
Aggression.
Dr. No.
Part of that is like Aggression was one of my all-time favorites. I mean, I just love them. I loved Ill Repute. Land in No Toilets, that EP, like RKL, Keep Laughing. I really like this band False Confessions from there that was on Mystic Records, which put out most of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Scared Straight 7-inch.
Scared Straight.
Yeah,
Scott Radinsky, who went and he pitched for the Mariners.
Damn, that's crazy.
And that was a straight edge band, you know, like,
wow.
and Stalag 13.
Yep.
Stalag 13.
You know, that's the thing with straight edge. It's like pre-Youth Crew. You know, you're
Sure.
like, it was like this sort of like, there wasn't a lot of it.
Mm-mm.
And then it was like, oh my God, Scared Straight edge. That's cool. You know, again, I was never straight edge, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And just most straight edge bands were playing a style of music.
Sure.
You know, and like Stalag 13, and then there's, you know, all that stuff was kind of related to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dr. No,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Plug in Jesus record was like a big one. Just love.
A little bit hard for you to do a top 5 favorite band.
Nah, I don't think I could do it.
It's hard, right?
I love the beat. I love all the Gateway stuff. You know, Beatles, The Who, Stones.
Sick, though. I love that too.
You know what I mean? Like,
of course.
It's like, you know, it's like those bands are Gateway because they're amazing.
Were you a big New York hardcore fan too, growing up on the West Coast?
Yeah, definitely. Like Mark Hayworth turned me on to Gnostic Front.
Yeah.
And then I got to see them on their first trip out to the West Coast.
Wow.
And
nice.
that was really cool. You know,
Damn.
there was really like, they made like a really big impression, you know.
Cro-Mags, all that stuff, right?
Yeah. I think Mark might have played me Age of Coral. I picked that up. That's, you know.
Masterpiece.
Yeah. I had Victim of Pain, was really into it. And then
Cause for Alarm.
Cause for Alarm came out. And that was that sort
That's
of
a metal
kind of
switch over.
that moment I was talking about. Was
Yeah.
like, you know,
That mixture.
Corrosion Conformity and
How about
Cause
Leeway?
for Alarm record. Yeah, big Leeway fan. I saw their first trip out to the West Coast. Saw Sick of It All's first trip out to the West Coast. Yeah.
Maybe I was with them. What year was Sick of It All, you think?
Sick
Was
of It All
it
came
90?
out and actually played with Leeway and the Bad Brains at the Reseda Country Club.
You're probably with
Yeah.
them.
It was 80, 88, 89. 89.
89, maybe. Yeah, I was 19. Well, that's the that's a quickness
Quickness
tour.
tour.
It's a quickness tour, right?
Yeah. And
Wow.
they played before they played the Reseda Country Club. They played in my friend's garage. There was the Goodson twins, these two skinhead brothers, OC Pie Boys. That was their crew. They had a show in their garage, and Sick of It All played.
Nice.
Damn,
And
I
I
think
have
it was
photos of that.
there.
I think it's on my I put it on my Instagram. And
Wow.
I just love that first 7-inch and the first record. But that's
Fuck,
first 7-inch. I'm like,
Yeah.
that photo,
Yeah.
PJ
the
Poppy's photo.
Yeah.
Come on.
In the alleyway? Yeah. dude.
legendary.
And it was
Yeah.
like a couple of like hardcore looking dudes, and then like the metal looking dude.
Yeah, Richie
Yeah.
Cipriano.
Yeah, like
Richie.
who looks so cool.
So cool.
So
You
cool.
know, like I was like, oh, it's just the fisheye, like
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
classic
all that
shit.
stuff. You know, I was thinking about Age of Coral, like blew my mind.
Mm.
Like again, that was that thing. You know, I was talking when I was a kid, seeing it's kind of like a Western civilization. You know, and I'm
Yeah.
like, where are their parents? You know,
Right.
and I remember just looking at that photo of them in that doorway, being like, these are the hardest motherfuckers.
Oh yeah.
Like, where did they come from?
And Mackie's a b-boy too. He's got that raccoon hat
Dude,
on.
b-boyed out, looks like a Beastie Boy,
Totally,
you know,
dude.
like
Dude with the
so
beads.
fucking cool, like, you know,
Damn.
shirtless with the tattoos. And the tattoos then too were like, no, nobody.
You maybe seen We Gotta Know on MTV or whatever, Headbangers Ball.
Oh,
back-
dude, are you kidding? And that's like,
Wow.
you know,
Game
it went
changer.
from like, you know, I was telling you, I'd stay up at night and listen to KUCI and with the hand on the recorder, you know, my boombox, and then you'd tape stuff and then you go back and listen to it.
Yeah.
It became that with a VCR.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
you'd watch Headbangers
Yeah.
Ball or whatever, and you'd
Oh,
stay
yeah.
up and you'd watch, you'd suffer through all the hair metal on Headbangers Ball until they played like something cool. Like,
Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
I
like
even have my VHS tape of that.
until they
Like,
played like a Suicidal
Right.
video, or they played We Gotta Know, and you know, then
Yeah.
or you do it with Night Flight too.
Yeah.
You know,
was the best,
and
dude.
Night Flight would have these weird like little interviews and stuff, and you'd sit there and just record, and then you'd have this weird like mishmash video VHS of all this like stuff.
I still
You
have
know?
that.
Suburbia. I saw Suburbia on Night Flight for the first time.
But we got to know, on there, and it didn't get cut off, like,
Yeah.
because you recorded too late. Because they'd be like, all right, now next, callback, and you're like, I got it. You're like, I got the whole thing. And then you just, I remember like watching, I'm like, who's the dude on drums? Because that's not Mackie.
Right.
And I remember being like, that dude has a fucking tattoo on his neck.
That's right.
I was like,
Hines.
that's
dude.
fucking P. Hines from
Yeah.
Murphy's Law.
Yeah.
I was like, and then you're like, it's P. Hines from Murphy's Law. And like,
He's back in the band too now, right now.
yeah,
Wow.
and then you tape Eye Against Eye because there was a video for that,
Institutionalized video.
institutionalized video, and then there was like Possessed Escape video,
Woohoo, I love
and
that
like,
video.
and then you just your friends would come over and you'd like watch it all over again. There was this
Over and
tape this
over
interview with
and
Henry
over.
Rollins. You can find it on YouTube. It's really fucking cool. He's in a convertible driving down Melrose Avenue,
Wow.
and they're interviewing him. And he's talking mad shit.
About what? Just,
He's all, here we are, Melrose Avenue, Hollywood, California. And he's just basically like, yeah, look at all these punks, man. Like, look at these people just putting their pose on.
wow.
He's like, I'll tell you what, man. And it's kind of the thing I was saying earlier, like, yeah, you think you're hard? Go climb Mount Everest. He's like, I'll tell you what, man. Put your fucking leather jacket on, spike up your hair. Take that shit down to Watts, man. Take that shit down to Compton. We'll see how fucking punk you are.
Wow.
He's like,
hard.
just think about, he's like the Crips pulling a train on Susie and the Banshees. He goes, Lord have mercy. I remember like, and he's got long hair and he's wearing cop shades, looks like fucking Jim Morrison.
Wow.
And I had that on the VHS, and it went from that right into the Slip It In video.
Oh yeah. Slipping in.
And I was like, and I remember just going like, that era of Black Flag was so.
Is he running a train on Susie? What the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, bro. I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like,
Bro.
probably couldn't say that or wouldn't say that now. Like that's fucking an insane thought. But I remember even the Slip It In video. I'm like, this is kind of
Pretty crazy.
this is out of pocket,
Did you ever meet Rollins before?
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah. I when I was in Obliterations, we opened for Jay Mascis. And Rollins came to the show
Oh damn.
because he goes to every Dinosaur Jr. show, and I met him. I took a photo of him and Lee Spielman from Trash Talk together.
Nice,
Lee was
nice.
like, "Motherfucker, we got to do that."
Yeah. I did.
I took a photo of him. Said hi, hello, hi, how you doing?
Yeah, same. I finally
Yeah.
got to meet him because my son's middle name is Henry after Henry Rollins. My wife loves him. She took me to his spoken words. I thought they were amazing. And then
Mhm.
Max's little kid pictures of us three together. He was super nice. His hair grown out long, gray, and just a legend, dude. Just a legend, bro.
Yeah.
For sure.
Huge fan.
Yeah.
Like just love. I have 3 Black Flag tattoos.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I got one teeny one.
And it's like I have 3, and I'm like, I should probably get to my war puppet.
Big fan, yeah.
Like I need a 4th one.
That was cool, that thing that they announced, like Ian and Henry had some old recordings from the 70s.
They're working on something. Yeah,
It's from older
he
recordings,
came back and
supposedly.
was like, "It's not a project it's a
Yeah.
thing. We're just
people
like
freaked the
we're
fuck
just like
out, dude.
they're like mixing.
I think they're starting a
mastering
fucking
stuff.
punk band or something. That's old shit. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Black Flag in particular, it's more than that's the thing. This whole thing is more than a band.
For sure.
It's pretty
Mhm.
fascinating that they create this band, they create this label. In that label, they actually had like a booking agency too.
Mhm.
And then they just basically create independent artist touring.
Yeah.
It's like, Ian talks about it, like, well, DOA had the list, and
All the
then
place, the phone
we
numbers and
got
shit.
the list, and Minor Threat toured a little bit, but like Black Flag went out and cracked the code
Really did.
for everybody.
Yeah.
They went
set it
everywhere.
off. Yeah.
Their thing was like, they eventually started touring with their own PA. So, like what?
Crazy.
Like what? Like a punk band just brought their own PA because they had a tone, they had a sound, but it was also
Right.
part of like, well, you can't shut us down.
I love that.
And we can do that. It's so they went out and played everywhere, everything under every condition, so everybody else could do it.
I love that, man. Yeah.
And then
sure.
at the same time, Greg Ginn at one point tried to put out 88 records in one year.
That's crazy.
And they had a booking agent through all doing it all themselves.
Yeah, I love that.
And also was like the Public Enemy #1 in LA. Like the cops knew their names.
Yeah. Crazy shows when they
Couldn't
played, right?
play because basically a riot would just break out.
Fuck. That's that legendary one at Palladium or something, the Black Flag.
It's Black Flag Ramones.
Yeah.
You know, it's that famous photo. I don't know who took it. Maybe it's Ed Culver. Or, it might be Lenny Friedman or somebody. Like, they're all ride squads out in front of the Palladium.
Damn.
You know?
Dude, so sick, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck, dude. Well, thank you for being here and talking to us about your journey and your life. And I don't know, I've known you for a little while now and just getting to hear your story and shit, you know? It's awesome.
Quite a journey.
And how much you're giving back to what you do for the scene, the culture, and the, you know, still in the mix, you know? We never grow out of this shit. It's a spirit of youth we keep inside of us, you know? Keeps us young, I feel.
Yeah. It's music is a really, that sounds kind of lame, but music's such a fucking cool thing because it's like, it's always going to be there for you.
Absolutely.
You know,
you can always count on it, dude.
And then, you know, you have access to like being part of that community, and that's just really cool. You know?
Man, for
it's
sure.
like, and it's a thing too, like if you step out, you're welcome back. You know, it's like, it's just a really important thing, you know, and
I'm excited to still be part of it in my 50s, man. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah.
In the mix, man, you know.
It's the thing. I don't really know what else I would do.
Me either.
I you know, it's like my social life is my life. It's like,
I see it all the shows.
Yeah, we just go to shows, you know, it's like, it's like, I've been doing that honestly, my whole life.
Yeah.
Like ever since I could, I've been
For
doing
sure.
it. And, you know, when I was in that dark area, I was like, you know, kind of started going to bars and stuff like that, you know, but I was still going to shows and everything, but like still here, just still going to shows.
Yeah,
like,
man.
now I
Made it
just,
through all that.
you know, and that I work in a business that helps people play shows and, you know, I put on shows and doing all this stuff. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just stoked to fucking
Still part of the scene, man.
be here to watch it and have some sort of part in it and support it. You know,
Sure,
just
man.
really that's kind of it. And then that just supports my love for it too.
Yeah, you're involved. Yeah, even if you're not playing shows, you're helping promote shows, all that stuff. We're all part of it.
Yeah, man. But
100%.
I appreciate you guys having me on. It's really cool.
Dude, it's really great to hear your story, man.
I appreciate what you're doing here, you know, talking to people about this stuff and their experiences and that's the good stuff too, like hearing the experience, people's experience.
Absolutely, man.
You know, some of it's kind of similar and some of it's not.
Everybody's got a story. Everybody comes from somewhere. Everybody's got a. We all found each other somehow and connected with this music. You know,
it's cool to hear about the younger bands and younger people that work in the industry and like their entry points and
exactly
and where how they connect the dots and stuff. It's just cool, man.
Do you have any regrets in your life?
Yeah, for sure. But you know, again, it's a half full.
Yeah.
You know,
Life experiences.
you know, I don't know if you'd ever meet someone that doesn't have a regret, you know, but again, the important part about it is learning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'll leave it with this, you know, I came upon this quote from Nelson Mandela recently. It was oddly like a muraled on like a trash can, like container.
Wow.
And it said, there is no win or lose. It's win or learn.
Love that.
And first I'm like, it's tennis, man. That's how I got to approach tennis. I can't get hung up on the loss. I got to learn from it. And that's the thing about tennis. You're constantly analyzing and learning how to play.
Yeah.
And improving upon it. And I was just like, that's actually life.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I do is I'm, as much experience I can bring to the table as a manager, I'm still learning so much.
Yeah.
And I learn a lot from younger people. And some of those people they haven't even been in it that long. And their shared experience and what I've learned a lot from all the bands I work with.
It's also like a new, young, fresh perspective too on something you've been involved in for like 30 years. You know what I'm saying?
I can't tell you, like talking to someone like Austin Sparkman, he's like one of the most smartest, quickest, brightest dudes I've met in a really long time. And I'm just like, it's really, really encouraging and inspiring.
It's awesome.
You know, and that goes for all the bands. Whether, you know, Greg Anderson, guy was in Brotherhood. Before that, he was in, False Liberty.
Yeah.
He brings a lot to the table. I learn a lot from guys like that.
Then you got
who are my friends, and Kevin.
40 years.
But also,
in the game.
I learned from Scal, interacting with
younger
people and their experience, and how they look at life. And
yeah, and also what the kids were singing about now is different than what the kids were singing about when we were young too. The stuff we got inspired by, what was going on in the government, the world, everything, right? So what the kids are living in now, growing up with social media, it's all different aspects of what they're
yeah,
singing
a lot of
about,
it's
man.
different. A lot of it's the same, and it's how they
Yeah, true.
how they perceive it.
Sure.
You know, and a lot of the same things that the evils of the world
Yes.
that we experience are still there, or they're even more evil.
Mm,
You know, they've got a lot more to deal with.
for sure.
You know, and that too is like, how can I help you with that?
Navigate through that. Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can people reach out to you somehow? Do you check your Instagrams? Do you check anything? Or
Yeah.
not really.
Hit me up through Instagram.
Is your
Just
management-
means I'll be on more.
Is the management online too?
Nah,
It's just you.
it's about no, I'm not a big. I don't really have a website or any of that stuff.
You feel like you're in a good place in your life now?
Yeah, I work a lot,
Yeah.
you know, so I got to find. I'm kind of in this point where I got to figure out, but like balance,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I have a
I
lot.
feel like tennis is helping your balance.
It helps me a lot.
Helping your mental,
The
helping all
dog is really great.
Yeah,
you
dogs
know?
rule,
You
dude.
just look at a dog and you're like,
Yeah.
wow, you're full of joy.
Yeah.
And that's just pure joy.
that. Dogs over humans always, bro.
Yeah, it's just
That's-
so cool, you know, and yeah, friends and shows and music and art and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I work.
I mean,
a
you're
lot,
doing
work
what
a
you
lot.
love. It's amazing. You've been
Yeah.
in this music world for so long, you know?
Yeah, Ricky Singh said it to me. He's like, yeah, I don't feel like I could ever complain about this because like I just feel lucky to be doing this, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, you've been all different sides of the music, worked in the music industry, played music, toured, managed this, everything. It's everything.
Yeah.
Same with Ricky and same with Vitalo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those guys. Another couple really hard-working people.
And it's people like you
Grind,
said
grind,
before,
grind.
those two guys, like you're not suits. You guys are hardcore kids in this world helping bands. It's a different, like even, because Vitalo's got Turnstile, Knock Loose, Terror.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? You guys are in the mix, but you're like,
Yeah, those guys
you
come,
live this shit. It's not like
those guys come from, you know, going to shows, playing
same
music,
with you. Yeah,
doing
yeah.
stuff, you know, experiencing it in real time, and then taking that experience and sharing it, and,
Yeah.
and try to help people, you know.
You guys are the good ones in the business because you guys
I
are,
appreciate that.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's important. I wish we had
Yeah.
people like him when we were coming up in our bands. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But
I mean, same with me. I can't say about myself, but it's like I didn't really have, like, you know, we're navigating these bands, like having
Yeah.
someone that, you know. But I
Right.
did, you know. There's people like Pete Stahl from Scream,
Yes.
and people like that, even like a Dave Grohl,
right.
that can share certain things with you.
That's cool.
you
That
know?
that help. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
Dave Grohl was a big takeaway. Like helped fund your record. That was sick. I saw
Yeah.
Pete Stahl the other night. He was with L7.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, the L7s and all these people, you know, they've been really mentored as much as they could. You know,
I'll get
a
Pete
lot-
Stahl on him. I'd love to get Pete Stahl on this. He's been in LA, right?
Yeah, and he's Son's tour manager. Son's
Okay.
tour manager. So I talk to him all the time. You know,
Yeah, I got to
but
get him
he's
in
not
the
in LA
pod.
anymore though. He lives in Brooklyn.
Okay.
But you should have.
But I
him.
said what's up to him the other night. Yeah, we know each other from back then. But
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Man, what a
Legend.
legend.
Scream. What
Dude.
another underrated band that real quick. Scream. All the records for listeners. Check out Scream. Reggae, hardcore, everything.
First
Political.
first
dude.
Discord band to tour Europe.
Wow.
Wow. And the newest Scream record was amazing, bro. I
Yeah,
fucking loved it, man.
They don't have a bad record.
They don't.
Yeah.
And they're such a like incredible band. And what's the name? Skeeter.
Skeeter,
Oh,
yeah,
dude, bro.
Steve
OG.
Thompson, bass player, man.
Huge inspiration.
Banging
that
the
band.
drum. There's so many records, and I love all the records, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, want to hear something real quick?
Yeah, we could do a whole DC fucking pod
Oh
sometime.
my
So-
God.
At the end of Scream's first go around, I was booking shows, you know, putting on shows and stuff.
Is this when Grohl's in the band?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd seen, I saw Grohl on the No More Censorship tour. I saw they played
Another great record.
Play with Reason to Believe and some bands and Blast at the Reseda Country Club. And I remember like that's the first time I saw Dave Grohl play drums. I was like, this kid, fuck, what the
Did he have bleached long hair back then?
yeah. What the
sick.
fuck is what the fuck? And I was already like so into Scream, but I was like, what the fuck? They're like a rock band now.
Mm.
I bought that record and whatever. And I had just come back from that time up in the Pacific Northwest. I might have already gone, and we had seen Scream flyers up there.
Yeah.
I remember Greg Anderson like, Scream's fucking playing Seattle. What the fuck?
Sick.
And we were like, how did we not know about that? So I get home from that trip, and on my answer machine is a message from Big Frank. And Big Frank was,
Rest in peace.
he worked for Golden Voice, stage
You
manager,
mentioned yesterday too.
bouncer. He ran Nemesis Records,
Nemesis Records,
worked
yeah.
at Zed Records. Just what an amazing guy. Played in Carrie Nation was a big mentor to a lot of us in the scene at that time. He'd been there before. You know, there's photos of him like front and center at the the rollerway where Minor Threat played. You know,
Crazy.
and I gets this call. Hey, it's Big Frank. Give me a call. I call him like, hey, what's up? And he was like, hey, Scream is going to come. They're on tour. They're going to come down to Southern California, and I can't book these shows for him because he was still booking shows and stuff. He's doing country club, all that stuff. So I gave him your number. And I was like, what? And he was like, I gave him your number. I'm like, oh, dude, no, I can't do that. And he was like, oh, I'm like, they're like a big band. That's Scream.
Fuck.
You know, they're like legends.
Yes.
Again, our generation, like big deal.
For sure.
I'm like, I can't do that. That's crazy. And he was like, no, you can do it, dude. It's just a show. Just got to find the spot and book them. And here's how you work the money.
Wow.
And I'd put on some shows. So I
Yeah.
kind of knew how to do that stuff. But that was never about the money. But then when you have a band that's actually on tour and they're adults,
Yeah.
I was like, they're adults, dude. They're legends. What the fuck?
And they got to get paid.
You know, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay. He's like, you're going to be fine, dude. If you need help, let me know. But I can't do it. I'm too busy. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Phone rings, day or two. Hey, this is Pete Stahl. I was like, hey, Pete Stahl. like I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, Frank, got your number. And I was like, hey, I just want to be upfront with you. I don't. This is what I do. I've never worked with a band like you guys before.
Yeah.
But if you want me to do it, I try to manage expedition. This is what I could do. And he's like, we're cool with it, man. So I booked him at there's like a small room at Soma in
Yeah, I
San
remember
Diego.
that. Yeah, San Diego. Yeah.
I booked them there I think it was with this band Sub Society. And I went to Mike Down from Amenity and I was like, dude, I got fucking what to do with this. He's like, Velde, we got this, Booked him at Spanky's.
Awesome.
I booked him at this place in Costa Mesa. Cause they were like, hey, we'll play 21 Over too.
Okay.
Like, but we got to play Ology as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, we could get you this spot. Big Drill Car played there. You know you guys are friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
So book them. And this is another little tidbit, and then we'll hang it up here. But so
You have a very by the way, your voice is. You should do a podcast. His voice is so relaxing, man.
Yeah,
nice voice. Go.
And I get him on KXLU. And I think it was Pete Jaberga's show. I can't remember. And Pete Jaberga was a New York guy. Went on to be an A&R guy and manage bands and stuff. And he had Inside Out on his show.
That's sick.
On KXLU. So they come and they play these shows, and they do one show in LA too at this place called the Gaslight.
Okay.
There's a bar on Ivar, and I get to know him. I meet him and stuff, and mind blowing shows. All the Big Drill Car guys come because they're Costa Mesa, and I'm a massive Big Drill Car fan. And they bring their roadie with them. No, sorry, they didn't bring the roadie. Scream's roadie. I remember the roadie had this long-haired kid with glasses. He was actually wearing a Big Drill Car shirt, selling their merch on those shows. So they break up. The reason they break up is
Who breaks up?
Scream.
Okay, yeah.
The reason they break up is Skeeter Thompson wakes up one day and decides he's just going to take the van back to DC without him.
What?
So he just bounces.
Just takes the van back to DC?
Just bounces. And so they're stranded in LA, probably because they're doing shows with a guy like me. They can pay him like like $100. They're stranded. So, and Dave talks about this a bit in his book, Dave Grohl.
Wow.
Dave, I think it's True Stories or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, true stories, yeah.
It's like that thing I've like looked at like on an airport, like in the airport, like bookstore where you're like waiting. I'm like, oh, there's Dave books. I'll just read this for the next 30 minutes and then like go and I find the Scream stuff. But so they're stranded there. They're staying at Pete's sister's house, Sabrina Stahl. And they had just been through the Northwest and Nirvana needs a drummer.
Wow.
Nirvana was with Chad Channing, played drums, and then, Dan Murphy from Mudhoney played drums, and Dale Crover from Melvins. They had kind of a rotating drummer.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And they had gotten signed to DGC,
Damn.
through Silent Youth. And he goes to the roadie, Barry Thomas and says, what do you know about this band Nirvana? And he was like, and Barry goes, they're going to be the next Jane's Addiction.
Whoa.
Gets a flight. I think his mom helped him with his flight. Gets that one-way ticket up, never comes back, right?
Wow.
Scream stays in L.A. and they start Wool. And that's Pete Moffat comes out. Pete Moffat, original drummer. Government issue, Burning Airlines.
Yep.
This guy Al Block, he was in Concrete Blonde. His brother is Kurt Block from the Fastbacks up in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, shit, dude.
But the roadie, this guy Barry Thomas, is the guy that roadies for Wool that ends up being in Bluebird.
Oh, wow, dude.
Through Chris Braddon.
Crazy, dude. That's the roadie?
Yeah, and I'd reconnected with reconnected
Wow.
with Wool when they came to Eugene, Oregon, and the band I was in Filler played with Wool. So I'd stayed in contact with them. I moved to LA.
Fucking crazy full circle shit. It's crazy.
Yeah, so it's like Scream and Swizz and all this like weird.
So Grohl went there to kind of try out and never kind of came back?
Yeah, he just went up and was in Nirvana.
Right.
Yeah.
And his life changed.
It's fucking
Incredible.
Dave
crazy.
Grohl's interesting because he dropped out of high school to go on tour Scream and lied to them about his age.
Yeah, I think I might have heard that too.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then
He was in it to win it like day one.
So
Just
then you
like-
get Nirvana, and then that's over. Then you get Foo Fighters, like two gigantic, like it's crazy, dude.
Yeah, he had already recorded a bunch of stuff before that. He has a song on the Simple Machines comp. I forget. It might just be under Dave Grohl, or maybe it's under Foo Fighters. Like he had already recorded some stuff. He recorded that stuff, a lot of that stuff, while he was in Nirvana.
Okay.
Yeah.
So interesting, man.
Yeah.
Such a legend, such like a guy who like really like.
Okay, with one step further. So he puts together the band, right? Which is basically it's the rhythm section of Sunday Real Estate, right?
Okay.
So when I go up to the Pacific Northwest, was supposed to be Yuckmouth head first, and I meet Greg Anderson, who's living in the same building as Dennis Chang from Boiling Point. He put the shows on.
Okay.
Greg's in a band at this point after Brotherhood called Galleon's Lap. The bass player of Galleon's Lap was also in a band called Christ on a Crutch, originally from D.C.
Remember Christ on the
Remember
Crutch?
that.
Yep.
His name's Nate Mendel. He goes on to be in Sunday Real Estate and the Foo Fighters.
Oh yeah, that's the guy. Yeah.
And so our first show was with Galleon's Lap in Olympia. But they all lived in this apartment. So like half of us were in Dennis Chang's apartment, the other half were in Greg's apartment, and Nate's there. So I meet Nate
Holy
at the
shit.
same time too. This all happens in the summer of 1989.
Holy shit, it's crazy.
And like somehow like is part of my life going forward.
It's incredible, man.
I'm still friends with Nate, still friends with Dave, still friends with Greg, like
What year did Nirvana come out?
well, Nirvana came out in the Bleach comes out, the 7-inch comes out in like 88, 89.
Okay.
And it's funny, but that
Okay.
7-inch too is like I went into Zed's, and Frank's working there, and there's like this little mini rack when you walked in of stuff. And I remember the Nirvana 7-inch was there, and I was like, oh, I really love the Cult, and the Cult Love has this song on the Love record has this song called
Love that
Nirvana,
album.
and I was like, oh, that's cool.
So
Like
he's friends with the singer. Yeah.
Yeah. I become friends with Ian later on, and I remember being like, Nirvana, great song. Like this has got to be cool. And Frank's like, it's cool. This shit's cool. And then get that, and then get Bleached. And again, it's like that thing where you're like, I don't know what this is, but I like it.
Yeah.
And it's like parallel to. But it's funny. I walk in, not long after that, and on that same rack is the Quicksand 7-inch, Revelation 7-inch with the weird like
head.
wax head.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's good? And he was like, bro, it's Homie from Beyond, and fucking it's Walter Schreifel's. It's like
The 7-inch is incredible.
and then
man.
you take it home, and it was like, what?
Quicksand, bro.
You're like, what the
I remember.
absolute fuck? Anyways, thank you.
Dude,
Yeah.
I just want to say I wish Quicksand's a band I think that should have been just up there with everybody else, man. I really feel like that. I love Quicksand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of ahead of their time with that kind of style, everything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really cool band.
Love them, dude. I mean, still killer. Obviously, Walter's like one of the greatest songwriters of our generation. I love
Just a
Walter Schreifel.
Riff King.
Riff King,
Love it.
Lyrical King, everything.
Yeah.
Set your goals, start today, everything. Moondog, all that stuff. Rival schools.
Dude, talented.
Shout out to Walter Schreifel.
Talented person
Big
and,
shout out.
and just what a sweetheart of a guy,
Dude.
Yeah.
Learned so much about you today. Appreciate you today, man.
Thanks for
Thank you
having me.
coming
Sorry,
on the podcast.
I'm just couple cups of coffee.
No, dude, I fucking learned so much about you. I have a new appreciation, love for you, like I've always had. But
likewise.
dude,
Appreciate you.
Thank
guys.
you for all you put out into the world and continue to do for this music and culture. And anything else, D-Block?
I think that's it.
Oh yeah,
it's fucking awesome.
Out facing the house.
You might forget some things on the way home and text me.
Yeah.
We covered a lot, dude. What a
yeah.
fucking journey, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
What are you going to do right now? Tell the people what you're going to do now.
I'm gonna head down to Watts. Worked with an organization called Watts Community Corps since 2020, and
Tiba does that too, right?
Yeah. We both got into it about the same time. Essentially provide groceries and other things like food, clothes and stuff like that to primarily the folks that live in Nickerson Gardens, which is the biggest low-income housing unit this side of west of the Mississippi.
Wow.
And and so we do every year at this point, we do a turkey thing.
Awesome.
We get people to donate turkeys and then we hand those out to families along with more groceries.
That's cool.
And we do ham and we do toys for around Christmas time.
Awesome, man.
But yeah, it's rained and stuff, so we're going to do it inside the school down there. And man,
That's amazing.
they're like,
That's
Sammy, we want you to
incredible.
talk, say something. I'm like, what, me? What I don't know what they want out of that, but we'll figure it out.
You're supposed to speak today?
Yeah, we'll figure it out on the fly. I have no idea.
That's awesome, man.
Because this shit ain't about me.
Right.
Yeah, man.
It's like absolutely not about me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, gonna head down there.
Awesome, brother.
It's gonna, you know how that LA traffic is. It's
Yeah.
3:48. I got to
Yeah.
be there at 5. Should make it.
Me and Derek are
But
eating food
we're
right
already
now.
on the west side, so I can go down the 10 and hit the 110 and onto the 105.
Sound like the California.
Get
I
off
know, I
on
was
get
just
off on
thinking that.
Central and
Californians.
be right in Watts, baby. Yeah.
All right, Sam. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
brother.
Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
Appreciate it.
I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swiped the credit card. Don't really tell me much, didn't give me much details or anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years I have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life One Chance podcast is now with Removery. Call 866-934-4570 or go to removery.com. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Removery has 155 locations and 1.8 million treatments. US, Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art peak-away laser technology, cryo technology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you're listening to this podcast, talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Definitely check out One Life One Chance Podcast, episode 281. I have Carmen Brody, Mike McTurnan, and Dustin Ortle from Removery. And this is an over 2-hour conversation. People had submitted questions. It's an incredible conversation breaking down the do's, the don'ts, the fears, process, the results, everything you could imagine about getting a tattoo removed. It's all in this podcast. It's an incredible episode. I appreciate them all coming out for it. So check that out if you want to learn more about Removery and what it's like to get a tattoo removed. Once again, go to removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out. I have a lot of friends who are sober, a lot of friends who are straight edge, a lot of my friends are going through it. I know struggling with substance abuse and alcoholism can be really, really hard, especially knowing who to turn to. It can be really, really daunting. I'm here to say that a good friend of mine and his friend started this incredible treatment center called Refine Recovery. They gave me a phone number, 855-516-3332. You can text, you can call them. It's totally confidential. It's safe. There'll be somebody on the other line to help you out, a compassionate human being to talk to help you navigate the process, the insurance treatments. They accept most of private insurances. You can go refinerecovery.com, Refine Recovery Instagram. I know it's hard, but reach out to somebody, man. People care about you. People love you. People want you to be here for a long time. People love you in their lives. If you're going through it, make this phone call. It's totally private. I know people DM me all the time about going through and going through sobriety and trying to get straight and trying to take care of themselves, and the struggle is totally real. And Refine Recovery is the definitely move. Reach out to them, 855-516-3332, or text them, 855-516-3332. You can call or text this number anytime, 855-516-3332. You know the drill. This number is here for you to call. As we get older, we start paying attention to what we put in our bodies. I personally have been listening to my body since I was 18 when I went vegan. I've always been focused on my health. It's super important, mental and physical health. But it's really important for people who are just starting to get more healthy and trying to step up their life. Doing your homework, reading the labels, researching and verifying everything that's quality. It's part of the game these days. That's why I started drinking AG1s. I'm so proud to have them as a sponsor of my podcast. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers daily nutrients and gut support and is backed by multiple research studies. You can trust what you're putting into your body. We're all so busy these days, so just throw a pack of AG1 in the morning into a cup of water and shake it up and drink it. I love the way it tastes. I do it every single morning. It's part of my routine. I bring the packets on tour. It's an incredible life changer for me. Many supplements only reference research from ingredients in their product, but I trust AG1 in my daily routine because it's constantly putting the formula to the test. It's backed by multiple research studies. And one of those research studies, AG1 was shown to have double the amount of healthy bacteria in the gut, which is super important because these help digestion in the immune system and immune health. And these bacteria are known to help with digestion as well, gas and bloating, which I freaking need. And it also promotes regular bowel movements, what I can attest to. In another research study, 97% participants felt more energy after 30 days, and 91% of the participants noticed that they needed less coffee after 60 days. I quit coffee like 5 months ago. I know I'm good on that. But AG1 is packed with a variety of nutrient-dense ingredients and is the perfect complement to my healthy diet. I drink it because I know it's going to work, and it gives me peace of mind covering all my nutrition bases for the day. In fact, I trust it so much, that's why I'm spreading the word about it. That's why it sponsors my podcast. Thanks to Angie Huberman for turning me on to AG1s, connecting me with them, and now they're part of my podcast. It's so easy and satisfying to start your day with AG1s. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of the vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your purchase at drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. It's never been a better time to focus on your health and wellness and get back on track, man. Take control of your daily health. Health is wealth.